Gather round, we got no gods to please. Saturday night, no sermons, just ease. Discussions flow like midnight breeze. No prophets here, just minds to tease. We talk big bangs and evolution. Question faith with our solution. Stars align in our confusion. Breaking free from old illusion. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Fun and laugh at myth believers. Here we're all truth seekers. Open hearts and swift deceivers. Make a stand, no hidden levers. Raise your glass to reason's thrill. No ancient text, it's our own will. Debate till dawn, feel golden chill. Saturday night, we've got the skill. Echoes of a godless choir. Light the world, we spark the fire. Free our mindset to inspire. No holy walls to take us higher. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Join the fun, no need for trust. Dust to dust, we're stardust. No heaven high or hell to fear. Saturday night, we hold it dear. Fun and laugh at myth believers. Here we're all truth seekers.
Greetings, welcome to the Captive Desk and another Saturday night at the Atheists. And we're joined here by Joe from the Kentucky Atheist, a great friend to the channel. And we've got Brainless here with us. And of course, we've got Speed of Sound, Mike from Answers in Atheism. And how's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. But I'm sitting here all alone, so I'm happy to have people to talk to.
Yep. Surviving.
So we I don't know how to best describe the video we're going to describe tonight, but yeah, he seems a little cocky, and
Don't they always?
No.
Can you
Yeah.
throw the link out for that, Dave? The video we're covering? So
yeah, but the main video is in the description, and then I've got some
Okay.
I've got some shorts too.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Got it.
Let's pop that out.
Oh, whoops. I don't want to do that.
I'll be surprised.
Down there.
So this this video, he's reviewing another video, and then we're going to review him reviewing the other video.
Interesting.
Inception.
So this this video, you might have seen it around. There's a lot of videos like these. 3 reasons, 5 reasons, 7 reasons, 10 reasons, whatever, that I am an atheist or I am not an atheist. If you punch either one of those in, there's quite a list of it. It's a popular title. So looking around, I noticed it was a popular title. So he came across this, and this is Pastor Steve. So Pastor Steve here looks like he is a pastor of some sort. I don't know. I didn't really look into it, but he does do sermons and everything. And he does all these other side videos as well. And he loves doing shorts. So I've got a bunch of shorts. if we get to it. This isn't a very long video, so hopefully we'll get through it. A couple weeks here, we actually got through videos, so that was really amazing. So
Not if I can help it.
Getting through videos is hard sometimes.
And hello, everybody in the chat. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And let's
chat.
Let's go ahead and dive right into this and have a listen to what Pastor Steve has to say.
Yeah.
Transformative comedy.
Maybe you've seen it on the internet. There's a young lady giving 3 reasons why she is an atheist, and I'm going to respond to her 3 reasons today. Here she is.
3 reasons, among many, that I am an atheist. Have you ever noticed that most people are the religion of their parents? You'd think that if there was one super obvious religion, then everyone would have converted to that by now. But instead, most people are the religion that their parents are affiliated with.
So she's talking about people being the religion that their parents are affiliated with, and there should be one obvious religion. I want to reply to that. There is.
Oh,
I wonder which one that is.
sorry, no.
Holy shit! Oh,
And yes, it is a valid point. A lot of people do grow up in the culture and of their parents' religion and become the religion. It's
So-
not always, but it is common.
So there's lots of sociological studies on this, and there's heat maps you can find everywhere that shows the dispersion of different religions across the world, and it's very clear that it's a cultural thing. You're raised into the religion you're brought into the world into, I guess, and they. Of course, there's conversions and deconversions and all that, but for the most part, everybody's practices the religion they're raised in, and it's very obvious.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to hear about what the obvious religion is.
Yeah.
Are we placing odds?
The obvious one is whatever one he's in.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, we already know what Pastor Steve's opinion is on what is the correct religion.
Hold on. Since it's obvious, I'm guessing that not only is he a Christian, he's going to be a fundamentalist young Earth creationist on top of it.
Oh no, not
Oh.
young Earth! No, not a young Earth!
He mentioned something about returning the church to its fundamental roots or something
Yeah.
like that. Don't quote me, but something like
Yeah,
so.
he's-
It's a fundamentalist ideal. Yes.
Yeah, so he's one of the people that of late has been fucking up your country.
Yeah, exactly. One of those people. Hi, I'm fucking up your life, and you should love me. For it.
Oh yeah, and I said it to the people here on the panel, but also all the Americans in the side chat. My condolences.
Thank you.
Fuck's sake, man. And I also know, like, it's not just bad for you, it's also bad for me. It's bad for the whole fucking world. But let's keep it fun. Let's keep it fun.
I just want to point out that Christianity is not a religion; it's a relationship with your imagination.
And of course, as fundamentalists always, of course, all other religions are just false religions. They're made up religions, but mine's not a made up religion.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, here we go.
There's there's just one thing difference between us and Christians. It's just we believe in one less God than them.
Yep.
Somebody's playing taps for us.
I think
It was
they were
me. I'm
playing-
sorry.
Was that like a funeral sound for us?
Yeah, for America.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're unanimous. Then we pretty much can guess which religion he thinks is the right one, right?
Buddhist.
Yeah.
Buddhism.
Yeah, right.
There really is. There are,
That's not
by
even-
everybody's estimates, 2.4 billion Christians on the planet. That makes them by
popularity.
far the largest faith group on the planet.
Oh,
They're
like-
also
See, I knew he was going to do that. This is the numbers game that they play, right? When they need to inflate the numbers, they count everybody who identifies as Christian. But the moment they need to differentiate themselves from all the fake Christians out in the world, all of a sudden, 2.3 out of that 2.4 billion, those aren't real Christians. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it's not by far. There's 1.9 million Muslims.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's still a minority though, against the global population. So,
Yeah.
Sure it is.
this is out of 7
Yeah.
to 8 billion people.
yeah, and that's like he's saying a big number, but like he does not say compared to like how many Muslims there are, or Buddhists, or whatever, or atheists.
How many atheists in the world?
Well, he's got some more numbers he's gonna throw here that I have a response to already.
about religious books. There are far more Bibles than any other book on the planet. No close second, not from any other religion. Let me give you the numbers.
You should boost
There
that
are,
someone's
we're told
throat.
by reliable sources who aren't Christians, there are 7 billion Bibles. 7 billion Bibles. That's
Okay, I looked this up. Now, the reliable
Wow.
sources, he says, are between 5 and 7 billion Bibles. Okay, so he's picking the high end, which we'll give to him because it doesn't matter, and he's going to demonstrate that in just a moment. You have something to say, James?
No, I was just going to
How many
point out.
how many Stephen King books are there in the world? I wonder.
Yeah.
How many grains of sand are there?
Because if you took all the Stephen King books and put them together, you'd have the Bible of Stephen King, right? So if you count
Well,
them
no.
all books,
Notice what he's going to say, though, coming up here.
the size of the population of the globe. 7 billion Bibles in circulation on the planet. That doesn't mean every person has one. Of course it doesn't mean. It means some people have 6, like I do.
Okay.
Some
Now-
churches have 200.
Now let's do the math. Okay, so if you have 7 billion, but everybody has 6, let's call it 7 to do the math easy. Now you're down to 1 billion, right? Because everybody's got a handful of Bibles. And I looked it up in the U.S. Globally, I couldn't find a number, but in the U.S., it's averaged people have 4.5 Bibles. So
Right.
if you round that to 5, he's
that's-
saying 6. Either way,
Everybody ripped
you're,
one up.
yeah, you're bringing the number back down to more like around a
Yeah,
billion
no,
versus
no, but like
yeah
I think
versus how many copies of other books do you have, right?
yeah, no, but there's also one thing that they that I believe that they are using to inflate the number.
Me too.
The difference between Bibles sold and Bibles that are around.
I think
Because
it's worse.
Bibles are heavily used books usually, so they will get damaged, will get destroyed. Like how many churches have got caught on fire? Destroying tons of Bibles.
not
Well,
enough.
there's no denying that it is one of the most printed books or the most printed book or something, whatever the category is. So it is.
Yeah, but like if you give them
But,
away,
right.
that doesn't say anything about how much people want the book.
You know, so
Shove it down. Like when I was in school, when I finished my elementary school, I got a Bible.
Yeah.
Like it's not a Bible that I bought for myself. Like that's an organization buying a bunch of Bibles. Like,
It's worse
How
than
many-
that.
How many hotel
2.5 billion. Oh, sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
How many hotel rooms in the world?
That's what I was getting at.
yeah,
Mm,
Yeah. So
Well-
he probably.
2.5 billion of those Bibles are distributed by the Gideons alone.
Mhm.
Churches are in possession of over 1 billion Bibles. So suddenly that number becomes not so many. Maybe not even enough that every Christian has one.
Right. They certainly don't read them. I like B.S. Lewis's quote right there about porn.
Yep. Most viewed content on the internet.
Therefore, porn is true.
there you go.
that point is true.
It's
No, but-
absolutely 100%.
Winona's got a big brown beaver.
I mean, just right there with that moment of humor, B.S. Lewis completely obliterated his entire point.
Yep.
Done.
And it's gonna, yeah. I don't think he was realizing it. This just isn't a good argument. It doesn't get any better.
But there are 7 billion. The next closest religious book would be the Quran, 800 million.
Okay, there you go. See, only 800 million. Yeah, but if everybody only has one Quran and you have 6 Bibles, you're pretty close to each other, right? Within a couple of hundred mil, or yeah. So it's getting a lot closer, right?
I also believe they hold the book more sacred and not just carry it around. They have, I believe it's more like they have one at home, you know, and like it's not a thing that they carry around. How many Christians carry around a Bible? But also, I kind of want to ask, which version of the Bible is he talking about? Because I'm pretty sure if you talk Quran, it's one and the same book.
Right. The
But
different versions of the
he's
Bible.
talking about dozens of different types of Bibles that all say different shit.
The
Right.
Bible also got quite the jump on the Quran.
Sure, thousands of years.
And there's 400 million books printed for Stephen King. So what? What are we gonna believe?
Stephen King is Stephen King is God.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. So
I don't know.
Yeah. Go ahead, James.
I'm sorry.
No, you're sorry, Far. Go ahead.
So think about this for a second. If we humor his argument, let's pretend they're all the same Bible and that this number proves anything. If you think about it, every single Christian Bible has a Hebrew Bible in the front and the Christian stuff is in the back. Now, if you think about it, that if those were the only Bibles to exist in the world, that means that Christianity and the Hebrew religion are equally true based on his logic, but there's a whole lot of Hebrew Bibles out there that don't include the Christian part. That means that when you do the math, the Hebrew religion's true and his is false.
There's more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true.
Well, the
Well,
Hebrew,
yeah.
well, it's still
They
the same
require
God,
Judaism
but
to be
yeah.
true anyway. But
800 million compared to 7 billion. If I'm an alien, I land on the planet and I say, show me your most important book. It's going to be the Bible, right? It's the Bible. It's obviously outstanding. Further,
Nope.
Wait.
Well, most
Those are different
important,
questions.
again, that's most important to a minority of people on the planet.
Yeah, and if the aliens landed and they found all these billions of Bibles, they'd say, this is a pretty primitive race. They still believe in.
Let's get out of here.
They took right off again.
I would say Principia Mathematica is more important.
Well, if you actually want aliens to land here, we first got to get rid of religion, because as long as they see broadcasts like this dumb cunt,
Yeah.
they're not going to bother coming by.
Shots fired.
There we go.
furthermore, biblical
yes, I love it.
Judeo-Christianity is older than any other religion.
No, it isn't.
No,
No,
it is based
No.
upon another religion.
No,
Even
that's a
This
big.
was a Jew. Like,
That's a big fail there.
Even the Hindu religion's older than both.
Yeah, Hindu
I
goes back
believe- I believe,
5,000. So
I believe Islam is older
Then what?
than Christianity.
Astrology.
Hinduism
No,
goes
it's-
back 5,000 years.
Christianity as a
Yeah.
religious thing predates the Muslim.
it's about 500 years, and
Okay.
Buddhism goes back 2,900 years.
Polytheistic mythology.
But the Hindu writings, they were a lot of diverse, different writings everywhere. It wasn't like an organized religion, right? So there's probably things that go back even longer than 5,000 years.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
But theism took a long time to develop in the human history.
I mean, the theistic beliefs of the Egyptians go back, what, 7,000 years?
Yeah. In fact, polytheism is much older than monotheism.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a that's a bad that's a big fail on that one. Sorry, Pastor Steve. You should have checked that one.
Right.
That's
that
pretty
one
easy
out.
to prove. So there is one obvious religion, but let's go on. She has more to say.
If there is a God, then he must be a really horrible person. It's not uncommon to hear believers say, "Oh, God saved my baby, what a miracle," even though that same God is completely ignoring all of the babies dying in extreme poverty across the world. It seems to me like God favors those who already live in affluent societies who have access to great medical care. But if you bring this up to believers, they'll say some nonsense about how God has to test some people.
All right, so
Yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with that. I've mentioned before that even if somebody prayed and this miracle healing happened, it's kind of cruel while all the other people don't get healed of the same affliction, right?
Sure.
You know what my favorite is whenever they say the house burned down and the Bible on the nightstand was the last thing left there because God was there watching. And it's like, yeah, but God burned the house down, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
how-
and it's
how
been
are we
shown
proving
thick books. It's hard to get a thick book to ignite up, right? So it's often singed. So you could say the same thing for a catalog or a phone book if they were still around, or any thick book like that. They're often left around. So it's
And there's no book thicker than a Bible. Sorry.
yeah. It's very
He was
dense.
checking to make sure you weren't masturbating.
Yeah.
No, but like when you said that, like God was standing there and he burnt that house down, to me, pops into my head the little girl with the burning house meme. I think we all know which one we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the little girl's God watching the house burn, doing nothing. Like,
I love
right?
it. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
That's the exact image that popped into my head.
a lot. It seems like a lot of times they're just passing it off to more like a deistic God that, is not involved in anything, and that pushes it back to, okay, then if it's not involved in anything, you're kind of defeating, the argument for your religion. So I don't think it's a winner to pass it off like that.
Mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm.
there's her argument. God is horrible. But what I want to say is,
okay, we might agree with that, but see, this is another argument. They'll say, well, see, you do believe in God, you just think it's horrible, and it's like, just to clarify, when we're saying these things, it's because of things that we've read in the Bible that seem horrible to us.
The character is immoral.
Right.
Yeah.
the young lady is ignoring the fall.
Dum, dum, dum.
No, we're not ignoring the fall. We're putting on warm clothes. What?
And yeah, and who imposed this curse on humanity?
Yeah.
God, right? It's our fault. It's like, okay, it's our fault, but it's still imposed by God, who could just decide, hey, you know what? I didn't really mean it, right? And back to the Garden of Eden, right? But
but God put the tree there, all knowing. He knew what would happen because he's all knowing.
Yeah.
So he set us up to fail and then punished us for failing.
I don't think the point.
Oh, what a loving God.
I don't think making the point that she says God is horrible, but she's forgetting this horrible thing he did is the own that he thinks it is.
Yeah, definitely not.
But this is a common thing. It's not God's fault that the world's terrible. It's our fault. And it's like, well, no, if it was the paradise, and then it was cursed. It's God's curse. It's still God is still doing it. Man had no power to do it.
Right.
God was just mad that what tree they chose, how you interpret the tree or what they ate from.
What tree he chose.
Yeah. So
there. Yeah.
yeah, predetermined and yeah, but no,
and
free
also-
will, but you can't have
and also-
free will before they ate of the tree. So yeah, it's all very, very
Yeah. So
confusing.
they didn't have free will when eating from the tree. So it's not their fault. No, but also, like they say, you're not allowed to test God. But why is he allowed to test us?
Later it says to test God.
And
That's how you're supposed to know.
And also, okay, so you're testing God, and like that's not good. But how
Well-
are we supposed to know? And I don't know. It's
God
It's-
didn't. So Adam and Eve didn't know of good and evil, but he pre-built them with the ability to be deceived, and that's a whole big thing. I'm not going to go into it, but what's up, B.S. Lewis?
Hey BS, how you doing? Tilting windmills. Christopher. Yeah, a bunch of folks in the chat. How y'all doing? Good to see you.
I saw-
Demon.
I saw a demon
Demon's
orb
here.
and
Top
a
tester.
jasper. And a jasper.
Jasper, hello. Rochelle, hello.
Hey, everyone.
Let's see. Logan, hello. Hello, everybody. Good to see everybody. So here we go.
All the suffering is because of the Bible's doctrine of the fall. The fall explains why there's all the suffering. It's because of our rebellion against God. It's because of our rejection against God. We will not have him to be our God. Go back to Genesis chapter 3.
And we didn't have nothing to do with that decision. This was between a couple people, right?
Yeah.
Keep saying we, and 7 to 8 billion people. I don't know. What is the current count? Mike, you're a numbers guy. What is it close to 8 billion now?
No, I don't even know. It's,
Okay.
I got you. Hold
yeah,
on.
Um,
there's only a few hundred million that I give a shit about anymore. So
8.1.
we're at 8 billion. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Third chapter in the Bible, and it tells us why there's all the suffering. It's because of our fall that all the horrors of life exist. So it's not that God's horrible, it's that we're horrible.
Oh,
Because
Now
he
here's
made us
another-
horrible.
Yeah, and we are made in the image and likeness of. Okay. We are horrible.
okay, we're horrible, and
We're made in the likeness of. I mean, there's another one of those words you can argue over. Well, what do you mean by likeness? If my definition is it's like means similar, right? It's a likeness. So
Yeah.
as he just said a minute ago, something about God is horrible or something. Well, you can start putting these little clips together and make make a
Well-
little short out of it there.
An all-powerful God could have chose to make the world any way that he wanted to.
Yep.
And that's how he chose to make it. So anything that you're going to place on the behavior of humans or the way things are was all up to the God that you're referring back to, if he's an omniscient God.
And heaven came first, right? God and the angels resided in heaven first, right?
Yeah.
So the mortal realm came as a second thing, not the first thing. So yeah, you could have just kept the heavenly world. There was no need to create the mortal realm other than to do evil things.
As a playground
Yeah,
for creatures to torture.
for just a little while, but then you can go to heaven, which seems kind of twisted, but
I knew
Yeah,
he
there's
was a creation.
Kind of. Okay. Yeah. If you say kind of, I say it's just fucking twisted. But
Yeah, these are the arguments where it goes beyond. Why don't you believe in God? And it's like, yeah, I'll grant you a God, but I cannot grant you a God in some of these stories that just seem a little bit silly.
well,
Or a
well,
lot
for
silly.
me, it's like what I say is like I don't believe in God because I've not seen good evidence of it, and also like if he did exist, the one in the Bible, then I would not worship him, like, because he's fucking horrible. Like, do realize if you really read the Bible, you know who the good guy is. It's not God. It's Satan. Satan is the good guy. He didn't kill anybody. He just wanted to bring light to everybody.
Keep this in mind that we're horrible. In the Christian worldview, we're horrible, right? We're horrible. Keep that in mind in the
I am, but
view of his conversation here. I was
And we
reading.
need redemption. We need Christ. We need pardon. Furthermore, the young lady is missing the fact that in her atheist worldview, there is no reason to even care about human suffering.
Okay, pause. So he says in his Christian worldview, we're horrible, but in our atheist worldview, we're just carbon. So why should we? Now, doesn't sound like he has a very high opinion of us either. In his Christian
And I'm pretty sure it says we are evil and murderous in our hearts. I think is the verse. It's beyond just being bad people. It's being truly awful people is what it's talking about.
And every atheist parent knows that when you hear the baby crying in the middle of the night, the atheist parent says, "Oh, he's just carbon, so I'm not going to feed him." Right?
I don't think it follows that just because you don't believe in his God that you can't care about human well-being.
Human beings,
like,
right?
That doesn't follow at all. It's when you really think about it, it's a complete non sequitur.
yeah, but it's also I've had this conversation with or interaction online in comment somewhere with a Christian, and I said, and like, oh, so you hate Christians? I said, no, I don't hate Christians. I hate Christianity. I don't hate Christians. Like, I love my parents. They're Christians.
Yeah.
You know, like,
if
I
he
hate
can care
shitty
about
Christians like
imaginary
this
things-
cunt, but like, I don't hate people because they're Christian. I hate them because of what they do with Christianity.
If he can care about supernatural imaginary things, I for sure can care about real things.
Yeah.
Like,
Real
I
human
mean,
being.
that
And
does follow.
I always try to make people as happy as possible. Especially if you're a lady.
That happened.
Sorry, sorry. Me and Slim are part of what we call the stream pervs. So that might explain
Those
a little
suffering
bit.
humans, they're not made in the image of God. They're just random collections of atoms. They're just carbon units. And who cares if a carbon unit suffers? Only in our worldview does suffering matter, does suffering count.
Why?
No. The only
it
thing
seems
that
to count
counts
for a lot. Yeah.
you know what it counts for? To get like to show like, oh look, I'm good. Pick me to go to heaven. That's the only fucking reason. Most Christians don't give a shit about other people. They just do good because that's what God wants. Well, if you need that to do good, then you're a fucking horrible cunt.
And a few minutes ago, he emphasized how horrible we are. So
Exactly.
I mean, like, yeah.
He doesn't care about people. He only cares about God and what God thinks of him.
In our world view, only can we care about the suffering, which you fucking deserve.
This is
Like,
this is
what?
just this is the stupidest argument, and they keep bringing it up just constantly. That you think you're carbon units? It's like Nobody fucking thinks that.
No.
Jesus.
You can imagine what he's going to say about things like evolution and stuff. So, yeah.
Is he
It'll
gonna
be a
get
last day.
Oh, he's going to do it. Don't worry. Don't worry.
No.
Don't worry. I got plenty of material for this.
When God will deal with all injustices and all human suffering in various ways. Let's listen to our third reason.
I've heard tons of personal anecdotes about miracles and seeing things that couldn't be explained, but to me, every time I hear a story like that, there's always a more logical explanation for the phenomenon. Some say the
Yep.
Yes, and again, even if I grant you a miracle, as I already said, if one person gets cured, let's say, one of the stories in the Bible that healed the blind person or healed the lame person, whatever it was, that shows there's the power to heal, but it's only for one person. Meanwhile, hundreds, thousands, millions with the same afflictions do not get healed. It to me, that's kind of cruel. I don't see why one person getting healed, especially in that day and age without modern medicine, there was probably a lot of people that were sick and lame and suffering. And amongst the crowd, oh, you're better. Sorry, everybody else. Just, if you can heal everybody. Everybody's healed. Everybody blind.
If I could heal like Jesus did,
right?
I'd go around the world healing every fucking body. Everybody that was friendly to other people.
I actually have a problem with her point here.
The point is that we're suffering because we're fallen, right? And we need to ask for forgiveness from the Lord. And when we ask for forgiveness, we'll be pardoned. Well, if we have cancer because we're fallen, and then we say, okay, pardon me, Lord, I believe in you. How come he doesn't cure your cancer right away? How come you got to wait till you're dead? I don't quite get the math here.
No, but also like they say, like, I think I've brought it up before, but like atheists just want to sin. No, we don't. If we do something bad, we've got to face the consequences. If Christians do something bad, they say, sorry, God, and it's all forgiven. And like, even if the cops come knocking, like, the church will protect you. What?
Well, I don't like her point, actually, because it's not just that there's always a logical explanation. It's that there's never a there. There's never a reason to even suggest that you should look for some supernatural answer to anything. There's no reason to ever even go that route. So it's not that it needs to be, we can figure out a logical explanation. It's that there's no reason to suggest a supernatural one ever.
And sometimes things just go into remission. Sometimes people heal better than other people do, and they don't really have an answer for you. They just be thankful that, it worked, whatever it did, and you're better, right? But overall, amongst all the other people, you're not going to have any numbers that show it was anything miraculous, because again, you beat the odds, but most people don't. And that's my problem with miracles is if a God is sitting up there and has the power to do anything over the whole universe, it could simply just wave its hands, say the words, and everybody's healed.
Yep. But he loves suffering.
And I would see that more as a true miracle, right?
Yeah.
When you see one beating the odds, it's just beating the odds. When you see everybody tomorrow doesn't need a white cane, metaphorically speaking, that would be something.
Yeah. No, but
that would be a lot harder to explain than one person regaining their sight, in other words. So, there's a lot more room for skepticism where, well, sure, maybe it healed, maybe it was misdiagnosed, right? There could be a lot of reasons why somebody got their sight back. Why doesn't everybody get their sight back? because one person
Yeah.
beat the odds again. Yeah.
Human body is evidence that God exists, but it's riddled with design issues. We get addicted easily, our eyes are too weak, we need surgery constantly.
She's saying there's no evidence that God exists. And I want to say, well, except the whole universe.
Gosh.
That's not proof, you stupid cunt.
I love it.
Sorry.
Gosh, gosh, don't you see it? Gosh.
Except everything.
I've got the whole universe. Don't you see it? This is look at the trees, however you want to word it. And that's why science has so many explanations for different things, because people wanted to know why these things were. And over time, there's a big body of knowledge built up that you can go and see. Why are the mountains there? Why are the trees there? How do seeds, come about, reproduce, everything? All the different fields that explain all these things. You look up at the stars, and they said, yeah, wow, what's that? So they built telescopes so they could see what's going on up there. So I fail to see why it's anything that everybody can't embrace and enjoy all the things, and many things that go in our daily lives, all from science, from the microwave oven to the phones and everything else we have, right? That it has to be this supernatural thing. No, it's again, it's open to skepticism as far as I can see.
She obviously has no clue that the whole universe is witnessing loudly to everyone everywhere all the time about the existence of God. The heavens declare the glory of God. The firmament shows his handiwork. She obviously has no clue that the entire intelligent design movement exists. Like,
we've heard of it.
What?
Have you heard of the intelligent design movement?
I think I have. People
Sadly.
just stupid as this guy.
Yeah, it's again, this is
I've
like,
heard people mention intelligence design, but
haven't you heard of these people? And it's like, yeah, a lot of us do a lot of videos about these people. Yeah,
about
we've
these
heard
horrible
of
cunts.
them.
What?
What do you want to know about what they say, right?
I've been reading this guy's comments on his video, and I don't think he got one positive comment from anybody. They're all atheists going back on him on all this shit. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I see your comment too, there, Dave.
Yeah, I think I dropped one in there.
Yeah, you got about 5 seconds left, I think.
Yeah,
About 5 seconds left.
You
have
drop
you
one
never
in
run into
there?
it? Have you never read any of the evidences for God's existence? There is powerful evidence for the existence of God in the origins of the universe, what was necessary
there
for the
is
origin,
not.
in the fine-tuning of the universe, and the emergence of life on the planet, in the clear, unmistakable marks of specified complexity of intelligent design seen, for example, in DNA or in a human brain. There's just massive...
Yeah, these
Post hoc rationalization.
Yeah. And intelligent design is not science. It's not in the science books for good reason. It's not explanatory. It's just saying it's the answer to everything is supernatural. And it becomes silly where you basically take an exam and every answer on the exam is, well, it's supernatural, right? It doesn't get you anywhere. So you can be a believer or non-believer, but you have to get somewhere in science beyond just every answer is, oh, it's supernatural. Obviously it's supernatural. Well, I'm a believer, so it's supernatural. That doesn't make cures or technology or anything else.
Sadly, it doesn't.
On Tuesday, we proved that the human brain ain't working so fucking hot either.
He's kind of making a God of the gaps argument a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, he's got to open some gaps here.
Evidence for the existence of a divine creator, of God, if you only have eyes to see. Oh, may the Lord give this young lady eyes to see. Thanks for listening.
Oh, blah, blah, blah.
Huh?
Blah, blah, blah.
What?
Yeah, so you basically
Blah,
said, well,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah, she doesn't believe because she doesn't want to believe, I believe is that argument. And
We believe that that's the case.
yeah, and then what was he just saying a moment ago?
More horse shit.
Well, a lot of dumb shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was true. I had something else I wanted to say and I forgot what it was.
He made this video and 3 people became atheists.
Good.
Yeah, the curse, that's what it was. Yeah, so it's all our fault, and she doesn't understand that it's all our fault. I believe that summarizes it, right?
But why is he even listening to a woman?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Against his religion to do that.
I suffer not a woman to teach, and yeah. So there was his response. I didn't care for his answers because, again, I think he was passing it off on a curse, miracles, and the classic, well, you just don't understand. You've never I don't know, didn't pray right or something. There's a lot of people that have tried to have the feeling and the spirit, and it just didn't happen. So whose fault is that, right?
Oh, I hate it so much then, like, oh, but why did God cure your child and not mine? Oh, because you didn't believe enough. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, you didn't pray right.
You're fucking blaming the death of a child on its parents. Like, what the motherfucker? What kind of sick fuck are you?
Well, those curses go back a long time, but they shouldn't be around in the 21st century, right?
Yeah. But
And that's basically what it is. God did the ultimate curse, right? He did the ultimate poisoned apple or whatever the mythology is, right? The ultimate curse on the whole planet. I believe they say to the whole universe, actually. God cursed the whole universe because of one little incident. So
yeah. Well, if those pesky aliens come here that are not made in his image, like, come on, you also have to be able to beat them down with your rules, because
Deconverted Man's here with, of course, he has all the answers with the lobsters. So
hello.
Yeah, he had a comment on his videos. I'm just looking at it now. Let's see here. Where the hell is OBS?
yeah, God, the ultimate fragile ego. Fragile ego.
Oh yes.
So, I mean, I feel like to sum up what he said is that I have this book. Everything, the whole universe is evidence that the book I already believe is true. It's
but the biggest proof that the book is true is that the book says it's true.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's there too.
He's got some pretty good comments here. Scary to think someone could only believe humans are worthwhile because they're made in the image of God. Does anyone really need so much justification to care about human suffering? Do people actually think anyone outside the biblical worldview has no reason to care about suffering? So almost every comment, and there's Deconverted Man. Who the bleep cares what he said? The most disgusting thing believers say is that there's no reason to care about human suffering without their doctrine. We care for others. We protect our kin with our lives, regardless of religious ideology. We have big brains that can imagine the suffering of others. It's called empathy, you stupid
and other species take care of their young and their pack or whatever as
Elephants,
well. So
dolphins.
Yeah, but like, have you asked them? None of them came out and said they're atheists.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So they
Well,
all
they
deep
observe
in their
very
heart,
well.
they know there's a God, and they've never sinned.
Yep. So anyway, he pretty much doesn't have any favorable comments at all on this video, so nobody likes it. He's got
that looks like my comment there.
yeah, that is
looks like
yours.
you.
Yeah.
So
What did
everyone
I
has
say?
6 Bibles. If everyone has 6 Bibles, or the average in the USA is 4.5.
Oh yeah. Yes, that one bugged me because I'm like, wait a minute, you just said you have 6 Bibles, so
Yeah.
that shoots your number down. I didn't think he thought it through at all. So it was kind of
people. I look at their heads, and I look and they've got like brains, right? And yet, I can't understand it. I just can't understand believers at all. You know,
No,
but if you're, it's the boiling the frog thing. If you put a kid into it young enough and you just pitch it to him constantly, it'll be decades before he actually says, "Wait a minute." I don't know. Anyway, fuck them all.
we have a physical world that we observe, and there's some things in that physical world that are unexplained at the moment. And unexplained just means I don't know. But rather than I don't know, he has a book that says a thing. So he creates a whole supernatural world in his head, defines a God into being to rule over that supernatural realm, and then assumes that everything in the natural world is under control of the world he made up. And maybe not he made up, but the made up world. And when you just look at it at just a very surface level view, it's so absurd.
Yeah, but it's also kind of no. Fuck, where are my thoughts at this moment? I keep forgetting what I want to say. Shit.
I did it too. The planets must be out of whack here.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's fine too. Gotcha.
It might be because here I'm more polite and waiting until people finish talking.
Well, you want some
reactions? I just blabber on.
All right. Well, you want some more reactions? I got some shorts here. So, as Jay Bundy says, hold on to your asses. Okay, here we go.
Atheism degrades humans. Not made in the image of God, then we're just big germs, meaningless blobs of protoplasm, the ultimate value of which is nothing.
Huh?
There you go. You're a meaningless blob of protoplasm.
Does he know what a germ is?
Wait, he thinks we're all Germans?
Only the Christian nationalists.
This is the molecules to man argument, or what is it? Turk says molecules in motion. I think he says. So what?
Yeah.
So what? That yeah, we're a bunch of molecules in motion. Yes, but it's not taken away from what we are, right? That is what we are.
If you use that logic, if he's standing on a street and there's a speeding bus coming, he shouldn't care because it's just molecules in motion.
Yeah.
I mean, that can't hurt him. And they're mostly space anyway. So, I mean, why should he get out of the way? It's the most
This
idiotic.
guy argues for complexity, though.
Yeah.
And like, I actually think us existing because of chance is much fucking cooler than somebody designing us.
Yeah. I mean, that is a miracle.
Actually, like
it doesn't take away from it. Well, you were just made by chance. Okay, we were made by chance. That doesn't take away from it. It just doesn't.
At least one.
Yeah. Yeah, one in whatever odds that they like to pull up with all these probabilities. 50
It's at least one.
zeros, a million zeros, whatever they want to add to it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, there's a
But what's
one. There's still a one in there. Yeah.
what is the chance that a God exists and then creates us?
I've asked
Zero.
for that probability before. Somebody was
It's
using
zero.
probabilities. Yeah, and I said, "What are the probabilities
came
that
up with-
God exists?" Right? Yeah.
100%. I guess that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Well, you can just make up some, just 10 to the power of 85 zeros or whatever. You just make something up like they do. Mike and I were talking about that before, that every time we hear one of these probabilities numbers, it's always different. So it's not that there's like this number everybody's using. The number's always different. They're just making up a big number, put a bunch of zeros on it.
And that isn't all you probability. If from the time you got up this morning, if you were to add up all the probabilities, the probability of us being here right now, 0. I mean, if you do the back of the envelope calculation on the likelihood of everything happening to you that happened to you today happening, it looks very bad. I mean, it's just like,
But it's not 0, it's 1, because it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a big German
The probability of God is 42. Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't everybody know that by now?
Here's the thing. We study the universe and the natural world to try and explain the mechanisms that drive it and make the things work. To think that you woke up one day and said, "Nope, I've got it. It's this thing I made up," and then to say, "What's the probability that it's not true?" Like, come on, this isn't serious. You're not a serious person at that point. You're just.
And like, he doesn't even believe in the fairies that live in my backyard.
Right.
Like,
The atheist
and then he asked me for proof, and I said, "Well, I've got this book here, and it says that fairies exist." And like, yeah, so that's my proof. And then he still didn't believe it.
Let me bring out my Bigfoot arguments. Let's go.
Yeah.
Bigfoot did it. Bigfoot did it. You can't prove he didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Just as likely.
No value,
Well,
no
there's
worth,
no
no dignity,
footprints. There's no footprints, so it can't be Bigfoot.
He had his
no
jetpack on.
rights. No rights? In an atheistic world, what basis do we have for human rights? Where in the atheist creed do we discover rights to things?
Compassion. Oh, yeah, sorry. You don't understand that.
And there's no atheist creed. It's we're social species, and we have a social society. We're interdependent upon everybody. Whether you like people or not, you still need the people that supply your electricity and your water and everything else, right? That's how things work for us.
Yeah, but I think the problem is like with especially the really fundamentalist Christians, they have no empathy.
Well, if he wants to use
they
the
don't.
look at around argument, right? Look at the trees argument. Look around, right? We are the dominant species on the planet. We've done incredible things and everything because we are a social species and work together. If we weren't, we would be like a lot of other species, and we wouldn't have all the technology and society and everything that we have. We would just be, trying to live to the next day to reproduce like all the other species are doing, right?
I think
where in the Bible does it say we have rights?
Yeah,
We don't.
I think that. I mean, if you look at for thousands of years before they made up the story of Moses and his stone tablets, all the civilized countries, not all, but civilized countries during that time and before were coming up with many of the same laws that then they adapted into Judaism and said, this is how you live as a good Christian. These are the moral laws. But those laws already existed. So where did, like, I know you can say God had already done it, but like it's not very convincing. It seems to me like you just adapted things from other people and then claimed it as yours, which Christianity may have done a time or two.
Maybe we just talked about putting zeros behind stuff. Maybe put a couple of zeros behind it.
If we weren't moral animals with empathy, we would have disappeared in one generation. Basically.
Yep.
There'd be no reason to band together.
Yeah.
Oh, what is
Oh, no.
it?
Deconverted man's doing some artwork there.
He's doing smart work. What the hell is
Oh, no.
Q-tips and I'm not sure.
Are those health department
But no,
Justice, freedom,
but
health.
like Q-tips at least have some use.
Yeah.
Atheism.
Happiness, or even the right to life. If we're just a momentary, accidental chance configuration of atoms, who cares if we're exploited in a steel mill or ripped off in court? Evolution leads to the law of
Everyone.
the jungle. The big cats eat
Okay,
the little cats.
okay.
But
We've got the right to life. Why does God kill babies in the womb, or just born when they're just born, or why does He allow school shootings? Because those kids have a right to live.
Because we're cursed. He's just going to
Well,
throw
yeah,
it back
We have a right
to
to live.
it's
So
your
what is
fault.
it? Do we have the right
Yeah.
to live, or are we cursed?
His argument,
Yeah.
though, is that why does these things matter if you don't believe what I believe? And my answer to that question is because God said so. Like, it's he's not really he's actually posing questions that he himself has no answer to. Why does anyone care? Because God said to. Like, is that his answer?
Hey, Scott's internet must be working for the moment.
That's
Hi,
right.
Scott.
Hi, Scott.
I'm only
Scott.
super early here, probably, but aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
And yes, as an atheist, I can recognize the temporariness of life, the edge we all live on.
Living on the edge.
That's right. Wouldn't be found anywhere
biblical
else.
Christianity teaches that we are made in the image of God. This exalts us, gives us value, worth, dignity, and rights, and solid ethics as well. Atheism degrades humans. We're just animals.
How?
Biblical Christianity dignifies humans. We're made
No
in the image
fucking
of
way.
God.
How? How?
No
There you
fucking
go.
way. What the fuck do you do to anybody who is not a Christian? Okay,
We're
case
special.
closed. Move on.
We're not just animals. We're special, even though we are animals. So we're not
Yeah, and, like,
special.
and also that, like doing that to animals, degrading animals, like
Yeah.
like
What's
they're
wrong with
less than
animals?
us.
Well, God seems to like animals. There's a lot of species of animals.
Hmm.
You know
Mechanisms.
Well, it's kind of like, well, they're just animals, and it's like, well, aren't they part of this? Look at the trees that you're in awe of, right? Why, but then all of a sudden it's, just animals, just animals.
No, the Bible doesn't even support that stuff he just said. Nowhere does it say that God cares about your physical form here on earth and whether you get torn apart by a steel mill. The only thing God cares about is your soul.
Yeah, the living conditions really
And you kissing
don't
his
matter.
ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jesus saying, "Blessed are the the meek and the poor and everything else," right? The ones that have it the worst. So
Yeah. There's
there's no promise of anything good at all.
He made that shit up.
All you, like Joe said earlier, all your promises are when you're dead, or Mike, whoever said earlier, yeah.
That atheists,
Hmm.
many atheists, do care about people and do care about law and order. I just don't, he's just not speaking against a reality. He's speaking against a straw man.
Why do we have hospitals?
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems to me you would just say, well, God's got it.
Because God ain't good enough.
I mean,
well, yeah, there's the meme that goes around where Jesus is looking over the surgeon's shoulder saying, hey, wait a minute, put that tumor back in there, right? Who told you to take it out, right?
mysterious ways.
Yeah, how dare you disturb God's work?
Yeah.
But yeah, these are the classic arguments again that and it doesn't just apply to atheists, although he's saying it's just atheists. This is applying to everybody that's not a Christian, which is the majority of the world's population. This applies as well. That yeah, you're out of luck if you don't believe these things. And we're all awful, and we have no reason to be nice to each other. But he's got an explanation for that, and that's going to be coming up. So, but as far as the attitude, he's got the attitude going. Pastor Steve,
when something goes wrong, does
we
he
can
stop
have an
and
attitude.
say,
Yeah, we can have an attitude too. So yeah, go ahead, Joe.
when something goes wrong, does he stop and say, "Look what God just did to me"? You know, I doubt it.
Is an atheist when no God sits down.
An atheist.
Oh, an atheist. Okay, I see. Sorry, my camera's in the way over here. I couldn't see it over there.
A big germ.
So we've got some more. Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
Atheists borrow important things from Christians. Ethics borrowed from us. Because in the atheist view, we're just atoms, and try as you will, you can't derive ethics from atoms.
Mike?
We derive it from empathy, but again, he does not have that.
Christians borrowed it from Hammurabi.
I spend hours every day working on just that, the theory of how ethics are derived from atoms. So bite me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd love to debate this idiot.
Well,
I'd love to see it.
if your parents were Christian and they brought you up, they raised you, yeah, you got your ethics for at least for a while from Christianity. But there are non-Christian societies whose children are raised with a certain set of ethics. And if
But were your parents made of atoms?
and your atheist parents, you're going to teach your kids how to do the right thing in our society. That's where the ethics come from. If you don't have parents who teach you how to get along with people and tell the right from the wrong, then you're going to have a troubled adulthood, and most parents don't want that for their kids, so they're going to teach them right from wrong, no matter what. It maybe he's saying atheist parents don't want to raise their children. That's just ridiculous. Atheist parents do want to raise their children, and they're going to do the best they can, and most of those kids are going to turn out just fine. A lot of them, just like a lot of Christians do, are going to turn out crappy. That's just the way parenting works.
And the point is, we're just atoms, and it's like, again, that's I don't see where that is a good argument or it's an insult either way. It's like, you're just made of atoms, and it's like, you're just made of atoms too, right? I don't understand it at all.
We think we're all just made of atoms, and they think we're made by God.
Yeah, well, there's the spirit thing or whatever that's involved that they can't demonstrate. But even if I grant that, then that has to be the energy or the force or whatever that gives everybody life. So I would have to have it too. So again, there's no difference in how we're made. It's I don't see any of these things as an insult. They see them as an insult. I don't see them as an insult. Are we just molecules in motion? Yes. Are we made of atoms? Yes. Right? Are we a bunch of chemical processes? Yes. So what? Yes, these are just things that are known. It's not you're just these things. These are things that we are. So it's what do you have, brute fact, right?
I think you're about 12 before you realize that you are made of atoms, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, what do kids do before that? Are they like psychos, sociopaths, psychopaths?
Well, I don't know. No.
Well, yeah, you got your grandkids. Okay.
They're a bit self-centered, and they have a real sensitive trigger, mechanism, because at least my grandkids, they will go off quickly, and get all upset. And then my 5-year-old is really sweet. He'll calm down and come back around to me and go, Gramps, I'm sorry I got mad at you.
Yeah, but they're from Texas, so
yeah, they're going to be a little different.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
Yeah,
his appeal
and
to
Mice has
Adam-
got a good point here. God just mixed up the dirt, right? And like a Betty Crocker cake. So again, you're
dirt.
Yeah, you're just the same. Again, you're the same thing. You're made up like we are. So what? It doesn't go either way. It's not a positive or negative or anything. It's just yes. Yeah. Okay.
Well, do Christians have any kind of, and I never thought about this. Well, actually, I did think about that when I was a Christian. Do Christians feel any kind of ethical obligation not to strawman the other side when they're talking about issues?
Hell no.
Or, and also, do they have a duty, an ethical duty to steel man?
Mm-hmm.
Hell no.
And so, so it seems like the ethics of these Christians, at least Christians like this particular, speaker here, just don't really amount to much. So you've got Christian ethics. So what? You're not even bothering to strawman or find out the actual positions of various atheists.
Yeah, but that's looking too far into it, because his appeal to atoms is an oversimplification of natural processes. So do natural processes lead to ethics, or does the shit I just made up lead to ethics? Again, it's not even a serious question.
Purpose, value, worth, dignity, borrowed from us. Because if you're only a very temporary and tiny speck in a vast, vast universe, what purpose, value, worth, or dignity do you really have? What about love? Also borrowed from us. Because in a naturalist...
Oh.
Yeah.
Why is... how many times do we have to point out these things predate Christianity? You didn't invent them.
Sorry.
No, go. I was just saying, you didn't invent love, or how? And I don't know. This one.
He's already said the whole universe is evidence of God, though.
But
so of course he thinks that.
People were loving each other even when Christianity started on the other side of the globe that had never heard about it. So we own love is like saying we own the rainbow. It's just no, you don't.
No, that's the queer people that we own the rainbow now. Fuck you, Christians. Huh? What?
Fuck you, Noah.
Yeah, I took the rainbow back from Ken Ham because he said he took it away from folks. So I said, "Oh yeah, well I'm taking it back from you." Ha ha. It's so silly.
And then you put it on a flag, and now he hates it.
Yeah. No, every time I go out and I water my garden in the summertime, I'm like, see, there it is, Ken. I've got the rainbow over my garden while I'm watering. I took it away from you. It's so silly. Yeah.
This guy has literally said that God did everything. So if his presupposition is that God did everything, then of course he thinks that God is responsible for every thought, feeling, emotion, ethics, boner. I mean, it's all God.
Oh, it's God that keeps giving me a boner. Okay.
The goddamn boner. Sorry.
Did we get lust from Christianity?
Yes.
Oh, hell yes. Come on, we all do that. We all know that.
Right before
We
the
know
teacher,
what
right
Catholic
before the
Church is
teacher
known for.
asks you to work out a problem on the board, that's when God decides to make you uncomfortable.
In this world, love is just a trick that our brain chemistry plays on us, a trick that has supposed evolutionary value.
Well, it does. It helps the survival of the species. You stupid cunt.
What do you think of the definition, Mike? Is love a chemical trick?
That's pretty reductive. Like, is it a trick? I mean, Christ, we are organisms, for God's sake, and we have many things operating as inside of us as organisms, including love and morality and all this other stuff. And we don't need it given to us from some goddamn myth on high.
You know what for sure?
This understanding that Christianity has of how ethics develop and how morality works is probably the single most destructive force in the world today. It's why we can't educate our kids properly, because they believe in all of this bullshit. It's like, stop it. Yeah, this guy.
Because you know what for sure isn't responsible for it? Fucking magic. Like, it's not magic.
Yeah.
It's not magic, no. I don't know. This guy's full of shit.
What about a concern for human suffering? Same thing, barred from us. Because in the naturalist worldview, who cares about human suffering? It just is.
Muslims borrowed it from you? Did the Muslims, did the Hindus, did the Buddhists borrow it from you?
And other species, you know, you see videos all the time where a dog comes up and drags another dog out of traffic or something, right? There was no benefit to it. You know, it as far as it didn't eat it, right? It was rescuing it, and it didn't reproduce with it, right? So the biology was taken out of it. There was something else there, that it was just doing something to help another dog out. So it's not unique to us. So the whole thing of a soul or made in the image of and everything else kind of goes away when other species demonstrate this too.
Yeah, like there and like it isn't even between same species. There have been dogs that ended up even giving milk to found kittens. The owner found kittens and took them home to take care of them. The dog helped and actually ended up lactating and giving the kittens milk. There is no biological reason for the dog to do that other than feeling that they want to take care of something or someone.
Well, his whole argument is, I'm going to poison the well, and then in my straw man of atheists, I'm going to poison the well because I'm going to oversimplify naturalism into this thing that sounds ridiculous. And then I'm going to say, but I have this that explains it all. But it doesn't explain anything. It's just you saying God did it. Like, you're saying, no, this is silly, so magic. This is silly, so magic. Like,
yeah. I know another one. Why doesn't a dolphin bring humans up to the surface? Because it knows we need air, and it feels sorry for us that we're drowning. It wants to help us.
Well,
hell, I've even heard dolphins protecting people from sharks.
Yeah.
Like, explain that. Like, if that does not mean empathy is a biological thing and not a Christian thing, then sorry, but like, I think I've just given more evidence for the atheist view than they've ever did for any Christian view.
But
honestly, a lot of animals that will actually do things out of empathy for humans. So it's just
what? Why the fuck do you think we can have guide dogs Because they like us, they want to help us.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So
Hey, Simos, how you doing?
Stamos is in the house.
Hello.
What up? Yeah, I'm so glad I made it.
What
Oh,
did you
dear.
make?
Oh, I made it here. I made it here.
Oh,
I don't know what. I don't know why I made it here. In other words, I don't know the reason, but I did make
Well,
it
there's
here.
no ultimate reason you're really not here.
That is true. That is true.
because
I'm gonna
God
have
did
to.
it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pray.
Yeah.
Let me just try that a second.
Oh, by the way,
No.
Dave, did you get my little
No,
book?
Nothing. Say again.
Oh, I was using this as a quick question for Dave, or did I say Mike? I meant Dave. I sent you a link to a new book by Dan Barker.
Yeah, okay.
The one that I was looking at something. I don't think it was that one though. I'll have to check.
I could put it in the, but it's really good. It's kind of at least it originally was subtitled to be a counter or a thing about the fine tuning argument, but then he kind of turned it to a discussion of, I don't want to call it backwards thinking, but it kind of is. But it's reverse thinking, like about like the old puddle and the water quote. That's kind of what he's talking about. Is how there's all sorts of things when Christians or members of other faiths will talk about the universe is fine tuned for human life, but you can think of it alternatively as the human being fine tuned for the universe, which makes a lot more sense. And so he came up with a word called contradiction, just to put a name to it. But I haven't read the book myself, but I've heard him talking about it on all the different several different podcasts and things. And it's really
What would be the name of the book?
Contradiction.
Oh,
Yeah, I've got a link to it here. It should be.
Yeah, I see. I dropped it down. I see your link in the message here.
Okay, cool. But yeah, it might be something worth looking at. It might be, but see, the thing is, he came up with the word, but isn't there a fallacy already in existence that deals with having your thinking wrong because you look at it reverse of the way it should be?
Post hoc rationalization.
I dropped the link to the Amazon in the chat there, and
Cool.
in the private chat too.
Blah blah blah. Otangelo is blah blahing us again.
Yeah.
But at any rate,
Sorry, let me just interrupt there a second. I find that quite funny, considering how many people he's spoken to that have given him their particular reasons as to why they're atheists.
oh, still
Right,
see
and yet he says, "I don't know of any." I mean, they've got their names out, Angelo. Why don't you Google some of them sometime? Divine
a lot of
hiddenness,
Christians have fallen.
transcendental argument for the non-existence of God. There's two, just off the top, right?
Don't worry. Don't worry about it. This guy's got plenty of it coming here. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, cool.
Atheists borrow really important things from Christians, and we're happy that they do. Otherwise, there would be no right, no wrong, no value, no dignity, no love, and no sorrow, and that would be a terrible world.
Yeah. Well, again, these things predate your religion, so you can't take credit for them and you can't own them. You can promote them, and I think everybody would agree, if you promote the good things in your religion and ignored some of the other things that are often outdated or bad translations used against others, wouldn't be such an issue.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, without Christianity, there'd be no schisms, no 30 Years' War, no 7 Years' War, no 100 Years' War, no First World War. I mean, just to name a few.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there'd be no, no church scandals that we've heard about recently. Worldwide
Yeah,
church scandals.
I was just mentioning earlier that even if one religion took over the whole planet and got rid of everybody they didn't like, they would sooner or later set upon themselves, because there would be, disagreements over doctrine or whatever, and they would set upon themselves too. So ultimately, it's a no-win situation. They're gonna keep eating their own.
We should quit pretending like this is a reasonable conversation to even have. Because it's not.
Yeah, and also it's kind of weird that like talking down on or saying bad things about religion is frowned upon. Why? They can talk shit about us, then we can talk shit about them. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Equal rights, but not for anybody that's not like me, right?
We should just laugh in their face.
Yeah.
Well, get ready. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Wait. I first need my shot of vodka.
All right.
Yeah, okay, go.
Okay.
Go ahead. Say there is no God, but it's obvious.
Go ahead.
There's
Say
no
there's
God.
no God. There's no God.
There's no
Yeah.
God.
Okay.
Yeah, without God, I mean, we'd have no Ebola. Right, just
Yeah.
to say that. I mean, straight off, there'd be no parasitic worms crawling into children's eyes. There'd be no bone cancer for children. Without
We
God,
can say
there'd be
there's no
none of
God
this.
because it's made up horse shit.
But we are deserved of it because we fell.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
He still created it, though.
Yep.
He still created it.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier, was that blaming it on the fall and the curse is still God cursing everybody when he didn't have to.
Yeah.
Well, you would
And
have thought
making us
all-powerful, all-loving God would find a different way.
yeah.
That's what
No,
they
but
want to
also
do.
like
They want to put their God into a little box and say he can't do anything. He's helpless.
yeah, no, but also they're saying like God loves you, Jesus loves you, but if you don't believe in him, he'll burn you forever.
Yeah. Well, ultimately,
So you love someone because if you don't, they will hurt you. Okay, sorry, but that no
Good.
love, bitch.
you're going to the hot place.
Yeah, no, but that's the same as being with an abusive partner. You're being nice to them because you don't want them to beat the shit out of you.
And when the hell is mentioned more than heaven, which is the selling point, it's kind of telling that it's more scaring than promoting.
Yeah.
You think there would be a lot more verses about how great heaven is, right? I mean, rather than look, you don't want to go to the other place, and not so much that heaven's so great. You just don't want to go to the other place. So heaven should sell itself, right?
Oh, but that sounds so fucking boring.
It's more obvious now than ever that the universe and everything in it is designed. It's so downright in-your-face obvious that naturalists are sweating and working overtime to keep themselves and everybody else from seeing what's plain, that everything was created and designed.
I think I would revert that with he's upset that people don't see things the way he sees them, so he's just going to say it's obvious.
Oh, they're sweating it, Mike.
About the other view.
Or Scott. Yeah, Scott. He said they're sweating it.
Are we sweating it?
Everybody's sweating it. Yeah, it's I mean, it's breaking news. At any moment, the answer is going to be throw out all the science books and just pray.
Well, in some kind of sense, they are, because people are working hard, or at least scientists are working hard to understand what is actually happening in the world, rather than just making shit up, making assertions, and claiming that, well, look, it's just obvious. Deep down, you know that's what it is. deep down, you know that's what it is. It's not an argument, I'm afraid. It's a terrible argument, okay? That's why we have scientists that actually work on shit and actually end up creating technologies which can be useful, right?
There's
And what progress is about, I'm afraid. And
there's
I
a
know,
point, Simos, where he's going to actually say that, oh, all the scientists, this and that, but at some point you just need to use your common sense. And it's like that doesn't trump what the facts of the science are, right?
Yeah.
And I've heard that used before, where somebody was complimented on not falling for all the science, but having good common sense, right? And that's not the compliment I think they think it is, in my opinion.
But wait. But does common sense still exist?
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. But, well, I
have
didn't think it was that common anymore. So.
Well, people have intuition, etc., but it's just not a good guideline to actually understanding how reality works. That's at the lowest levels, the most fundamental levels. People have discovered that intuition is not necessarily how the world is going to give you the right answer as to how the world actually works. It's a lot more complicated than that. So I don't see why, when the Christian in particular says, oh, it's just common sense, then I go, okay, that's great. That means you don't understand on the most basic and fundamental levels how the world works, because common sense don't get you there. Common sense says that, the earth isn't moving. Right? That's just common sense, right? Common sense says if you look at the horizon, it's not curved. That's common sense. And both of those conclusions that you draw from that are wrong.
Please don't start me on flat Earth.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's just how it works.
Oh, I was just kidding with my son. We just ran 100-foot of fence, and I had my string level on it, and I was like, look, turned out pretty good, right? We're dead on, right? It's nice and level and perfect and straight and all that kind of stuff. And I was joking, oh man, I just proved the earth is flat, right? I mean, 100-foot stretch, the bubble was dead set, right? I mean, common sense, it must keep going that way.
It looks dead set, yeah, I grant you.
Yeah.
The bubble looks level, yeah, absolutely.
But level is not flat.
But the common sense there goes out the window, right?
Well, it's as we know, it's there's an error factor involved. And
a little bit.
within the error factor, it's flat. Yeah,
No, level is not flat. Level is a certain
I know what you're saying.
certain distance above sea level.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it
Or
becomes.
below.
I often compare it to if a child thinks of something like this or something, you think, hey, you're using your thoughts, you're developing the basic testing methods and everything, but as you get older,
thinking about it.
Yeah, as you get older, you need to think about it a little more, right? just a little bit more. That's all. Not everybody has to be a scientist, but just think about that a little bit more. And yeah, it doesn't make sense just because you can make your shelf level that the whole planet's flat. There's just there's no correlation there whatsoever.
Oh, this binds into something that I forgot earlier to say. Like, I think one of the big problems is people get shamed for not knowing things. And they're called stupid and shit. So people are basically scared to say, I don't know.
Right.
If you say, I don't know, then people look at you, you didn't know that. Dumbass.
Tons of mice says, I won't be saying that when Toledo slides into Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Reject creation, reject God's design, insist on naturalism, and you'll be forced to invent and embrace a whole bevy of sophisticated nonsense. Tell yourself there is no God, and you'll come up with godless explanations for everything. Well, it really looks...
I would hate to be sophisticated. Oh my goodness, I can't think of anything worse in this world than being sophisticated.
And I have no problem with somebody that cures... You cure cancer and you go to church on every Sunday, I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't care. Believe all you want. Fine, right?
As long as you don't use that belief to harm other people. And,
Yeah,
then I'm cool with you.
I wish they'd just listen to their own language sometimes. Like,
It's-
like literally that last sentence is just doesn't make it. I mean, by his own reasoning, it doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Just by his own logic, that can't be the way
Wait.
things work.
Wait, you believe he's got logic?
But by his own
Wow.
logic, I'm saying,
it's coming up.
Even if you use his logic, it still doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. Like there's a whole list of things up here that were said in the chat, right? Common sense tells me exactly. I know that's why we're objecting to it, because you're just using common sense. You're not using any kind of data or analysis of the actual situation itself, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Looks like design, but it isn't, and here's why. You'll find a way, but your explanations are rooted in your assumed naturalism, which predetermines your results. It's obvious that God created the heavens and the earth and all that is in them, and you can see it if you only open your eyes.
Calling the kettle black.
Wow.
Calling the kettle black.
That's gonna do
Presumed
it.
naturalism.
Opening
And-
your eyes is really all that needs to be done.
And there's not another option because, methodological naturalism is how science tests things, and it can't test the supernatural. The believer will be the first one to say it can't test the supernatural. So criticizing what it does, leaving out what it doesn't do, again, is not an argument against it.
But
Right?
he's saying like, oh, you already have your answer ready. And that's what you do. You don't even pretend to look for an answer. You just blabber out your answer. Oh, it's God. Like,
He-
what the fuck?
He's accusing of post hoc when that's pretty much what he's doing.
Yeah, and it's the same as them like, oh yeah, no, science is also a religion. Like, oh yeah, it's so bad to be a religion, right?
Yeah, I've never understood that one either. Yeah, it's not a winning argument. It's a defeatist argument on both sides to just say it's just a religion. So yeah.
Yeah, you're also in a religion.
Yeah. So what?
Hell no, I'm not.
But yeah, what in the Bible has us on the internet here talking? Nothing. What's in the science books that has us on the internet talking? A lot, right? That's what the difference is.
Right. See, we have Otangelo over in the chat section misrepresenting science and misrepresenting the discussion.
And it seems to be a popular thing to do.
Sure.
Well, it's classic, classic Otangelo there. Argument from ignorance all over.
Sure.
It can't be X, therefore it must be God.
It must be Magic Man in the sky.
Yeah. The heavens declare the glory of ignorance. Right there.
And in the meantime, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He says, I know that something cannot come from nothing. Well, nobody's proposing that it did, Otangelo. Where have you been?
Well, the people that are saying that are the religious people. God made you out of nothing.
Ex nihilo.
Yep.
So he's got, we've got plenty more here. So don't worry. Here we go.
Chimpanzees are generally believed to be our nearest evolutionary relatives, but
That's
philosopher
not really
and
true.
mathematician.
That's not true either.
Yeah,
No, it's bonobos.
They're not the closest.
The language is really fuzzy here. Of course, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
David Berlinski points out that, quote,
Now, here's the problem. David Berlinski. If you don't know who David Berlinski is, he hangs around with a lot of creationists. Stephen Meyer, John Lennox, and somebody else. There's a video on YouTube that's got a bazillion views on it. Where they're sitting around. And
I've seen that,
the odds against this and the probabilities of that, and as we were already talking earlier, they just make these things up. There's no formulas for giving them these odds or probabilities.
Yeah. Anytime you want to put that argument into some kind of syllogism, Angelo, that would be helpful. In the meantime, this guy is saying, "Aren't we evolved from chimps?" So that's Kent Hovind says that, doesn't it? If they're, if we come from monkeys, why aren't monkeys evolving into humans today?
Well, because we do not come from these monkeys. We come from the same ancestor. They come from where we come from.
Thank you. Yes.
Chimpanzees do not talk and apparently have nothing to say. They cannot read. They do not write. They do not
They
paint.
can read.
They
They
do not
can
compose
write.
music or fashion sculpture.
They definitely talk. They definitely talk.
Yeah, they do communicate.
They're very loud. Yeah.
They can paint.
And
They can read. They can write. Like there's people there's people that taught. I don't remember if it's chimpanzees or bonobos how to use sign language.
yeah, it's the intellect is more like on the level of a child or something. We're not giving them a high intelligence level, but they can do some of those things.
Yeah.
And you see all kind of videos where they seem to be appreciative of a lot of different things, including music. So, what is it? The guy that plays the piano for his cows or something like that, and they all come around. The herd all comes around and listens to the piano or whatever. They seem to like it, right?
No, it's the same. When I was younger, I used to just ride around on my bicycle, and if I'd come past a field of cows, and I'd be whistling a tune or singing a tune, 9 out of 10 times, all the cows would come to you and just walk along with you till the end of the field to listen to you. It's really silly, but that's really a fun thing to do. If you're near a field of cows, go sing a cheerful tune or whistle a cheerful tune. They'll notice that it's something nice, something happy.
It's not to say that we aren't more cognitive and advanced in all these things, but to discount that other species don't have it at all is just wrong, right?
Yeah.
So
and look at birds.
Again,
They make music.
Yeah, the way he's talking though of, we're separate from all the other animals, but it's like obviously not, right? There's I see obvious connections. You don't have to be a scientist, and people realized this a long time ago, and man's best friend and all these type of things, right? We've been hanging out with certain species for a long time, and we've seen a lot of things. Like I just mentioned earlier, a dog dragging an injured dog out of the road has no benefit for itself as far as food or reproduction. It was just doing something because something said to help the other dog. That there has to be something there. Even though it's it could be very, very primitive. So it's just not a good with his argument that there's something different just because we're a higher level of cognitive abilities. That's just because we have that niche that we filled.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think when you say, "Oh, we're all just animals," that's an insult. I think that's just a wonderful thing that we are all part of the same thing, the same system and shit, But and people think animals are less than us, but in so many ways, there's so much more.
Yeah, I don't see where it takes away at all. They think it does, and maybe they think it does when it comes across, but it doesn't come across to me that way. I'm sorry. I think that you know, when I'm out there feeding my fish and the frog is over there, and I'm talking to the frog and everything, and people say, "Hey, you're talking to the frog, right?" And it's like, you know what? But when I go out there every day and I talk to the frog and it gets used to me and everything, over time the frog's not afraid of me anymore. We're mates now, right? So does the frog understand me? No, but I think the frog understands enough to know that I'm not a threat, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that might.
That's something, right? I mean, that something in that frog's little brain is saying, "Oh, here comes Dave. He's not going to bother me," right? I don't have to hop out into the water. I can sit here in my sunny little spot that I'm enjoying, and Dave's not going to bother me. There's something that's telling it that, and it's from a memory too, right? It's something it's learned.
Yeah.
Nor do mathematics or metaphysics. They form no real communities, only loose-knit wandering tribes. They do not dine and cannot cook. They show little curiosity. They are born, they live.
I think they show a lot of curiosity.
Like, okay, like as an electrician, I come in on a lot of pig farms. You want to know how fucking curious those fucking cunts are? Oh, fuck. Those are some of the most curious animals that exist.
Well, Mike there, he dropped off, but when Mike was, often Mike and a lot of other people, there's their cat, right? Climbing all over them when they're doing a stream, you know? Yeah. They seem to know. I mean, they'll be sitting there all day long. But as soon as you're trying to do something like stream, here they come, right? It's like, oh, they're thinking something. Dusty has a problem often too. He's like, dang cats, this and that all day long. And as soon as I turn on my camera, here you come climbing all over my stuff, right? But we should give more credit to and research what's going on, because they do think that the apes do have some kind of communications going on with their calls, and so do a lot of other species. And the dolphins and the whales and everything, they think they have a language going on in there. So just because, even if it's not on our level or something we don't understand, it doesn't mean it's not going on.
No, but it's like a simple thing. Like a crow has a call, just a regular like song. It has a call to call a mate to them, but it also has a warning call. Sorry, but that's just a fucking language. It's very basic, but it's a language.
Yeah. And yeah,
they can say, please come here, or just, hey, how you doing? Or, hey, get the fuck out of here, it's dangerous. Like,
there's no denying we're at a different level with the brain power, but it also doesn't necessarily mean that it's an advantage over long term. Short term, we've been doing really well, but other species have been on this planet for a lot longer, and yeah, they never developed beyond, certain speciation and whatnot, but they're good in their niche, and they didn't have to develop technology or anything, and they've watched species come and go, and they just go about their business. So yeah, sometimes the cockroach and the scorpion and some of these things have had the last laugh numerous times.
And the cockroach will outlive us.
And he goes on elsewhere to note that this great gap between us and chimps is more than a mere difference of degree. It's a vast, vast difference in kind. Our alleged nearest evolutionary relatives are in fact very far from human. Made by the same divine designer, so there are similarities, but very vastly different by design. And to say we came from them,
more shots.
Yeah, there's just absolutely no evidence, even though there's tons of evidence for it, and that's why they say it. He's just going to outright just deny it because, once again, we're created special. And I think we all agree that a lot of species are created special. It doesn't make them number one or anything else. And a lot of species, like I said, have watched other species come and go over the years, and they're still here. So, and they may still be here when we're gone, right?
Yeah, just look at a spider, like how special that creature is. A spider can make stronger material than any man can. The string of a spider is stronger than the materials we can make.
I think it's about near steel, but it's still amazing what it does.
Like that's,
and the things that go on too. Yeah, the little spider in that little corner somewhere building its little tiny thing, going about its thing, and the whole universe goes on by, and the spider's just doing its little thing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It doesn't take away that it's just a little spider that you can just, swat with a newspaper. Don't do that. But,
At any moment to describe those things about a spider and how it adapted to be able to do those things, do we ever have the necessity of invoking miracles or magic?
Apparently to eat bugs, that's what you need.
And again, it's the same thing again, right? Because, like, he's clearly not even Googled. Like, when you just get assertion after assertion, with no kind of genuine like attempt to cross the divide and actually talk to atheists and give some kind of internal critique, then they just go back and rely on this. I don't know how it happened. I can't believe it. I can't believe it could be done this way. I can't believe naturalism could be true. No evidence whatsoever for that. No kind of argument for that. Just other than, because I don't know how it could happen.
Just more
incredulity. You're lazy. That's because you're lazy. You're just not doing the work. There's plenty of resources out there in the modern world, coincidentally created by naturalistic processes, like science, for instance, which has an assumption of naturalism at least.
It's not a critique of naturalism that it can only test natural things through the scientific method. It's bad that you can only do what you do, right? It can only do what it does, and then you say, well, now test a supernatural claim through the scientific method. You can't do that. You can't badmouth the scientific method because it can't do something that it can't do. It's not designed to do. It's not set up to do. But that's what he's doing.
He's just asserting that there is this alternative explanation.
Yeah, all the scientists they can do is naturalism.
It's not an explanation. That's the point that we're making.
Yeah.
By the scientific standard, it's not an explanation, right? And we're just asking for how did God do it? And every time you go, yeah, but it can't be done any other way. Yeah, but how did God do it? Yeah, but it can't be done. I mean, it's got to be random. If it's not God, it's got to be random. These are just obvious fallacies in logic, right? And you want to be taken seriously when you talk this way. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's fine. Again, I'll say, okay, fine. It still doesn't change anything to the argument. That's over and over again, like we saying, God is not an answer. The scientists are saying God's not is not an answer. It's not an answer that's explanatory, that can do anything. That doesn't make predictions. It doesn't make cures. It doesn't make technology. It doesn't do anything. It's just a placeholder, basically, at best. and Joe's got to take off. Joe's going to go over there and I forgot the name. The name changed to the channel again, Joe. He's over there with Justin tonight at 8 o'clock, I believe. So Joe's going to duck out and go over there. So trying to wrap things up, go over there and check Joe out over there. Drop a link, Joe, if you're still out there, would you? Skeptic Spin, thank you.
You're an atheist, then you got to face it. In your view, you came from nothing and you're going nowhere. And right now, here, in between nothing and nowhere, you are nothing but a chance configuration of atoms. And if that's all...
There it is. There it is, that you're nothing but chance.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if there isn't any better way to misunderstand what the natural processes that are going on are, you're just ignorant of science, I'm afraid. You're ignorant of evolution, you're ignorant of the way the laws of physics work.
If they want to describe it as chance, I'll even grant that. It's like, okay, it's, you know, all these things were worked out just right for us to be here. Okay. It's still not, you know, oh, you're just a bunch of atoms. Yes, we're a bunch of atoms. It's still not a good argument, no matter how he tries to reword it.
You are, then I hate to break it to you, but hey, your entire life, everything you do and everything you are here in between nothing and nowhere, it's all ultimately meaningless.
No, it's not. Whatever my life experiences are meaningful to me. They're meaningful to other people, and they live on in other people's memories, and same as anybody else. Believers hold on to other people's memories too. I'm not seeing a difference other than an afterlife that he's offering here. It's still, we have the same things. And the meaningless thing is, just because we don't believe we're going to your afterlife doesn't make our life any less meaningless, because we can do the same things in this life with believers, right? We can go bowling or golfing or hiking or sailing or whatever all together, and all these things give our lives meaning. Whether you're a believer or not, we can all do these things together, and that's what gives your life meaning. The only difference is what he's talking about, as far as I understand, is after you die. Ultimately, your meaning is that you get to go to heaven, is what he wants.
Well, again, I'm not even sure what ultimate means in that sense, because even if you give them everything, that still doesn't give your life meaning, right? What's the meaning of the afterlife? Just tell me that. Because I don't think there is one that's known. I mean, you know, they say things like, well, to worship God.
To cheat death.
Right?
Cheat death, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that a meaning? Is that an ultimate meaning? I'm not even sure what that is. So, like, again, they don't know what they're talking about. The only thing that would possibly have ultimate meaning in their own system, right, even if we grant everything, is God's thoughts. We don't get to have meaning. We don't get to have meaning even in the Christian doctrine.
And it has to go way back that, you know, our early ancestors were confused by death, right? You were, this person was just living, and now this person's not living, right? That had to be very confusing. So of course you had to come up with an answer for it. This is very confusing. Why were they working and now they're not working, right?
Yeah, in some sense. I mean, I think it's a bit deeper, right?
Oh, sure.
It's that we can't, you know, it's that we are humans. We're a social creature. And the most important thing to us is love. And we cannot release those bonds. Just because somebody dies doesn't mean we can release the bond of love for them. And we have to have some explanation for that. And that's why we come up with such things like gods and afterlives, because we want to continue loving those people. That's what's most important to us. And that's chemical, as far as I'm concerned. That's a chemical process. And I'm sure if Mike were here, he'd be shouting out reasons as to why this is the case. But I'm just saying it's that we have this inability to accept that our love is worth nothing, and that's because it's a survival trait. So yeah, I think that's really why when somebody dies, we don't just stop loving them because they're dead. No, we carry on loving them, as you said, Dave. They're in our minds and our thoughts for the rest of our lives, and that's what gives us meaning.
And yeah, and I'm not a believer. I was never really a believer. You know, I never had the conversion thing or anything else. And when I visit my mother at the cemetery, you know, it's emotional. I always say, I miss you, Mom, right? I do. You know, do I think she's listening or can hear me or anything? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Of course I miss her. And I miss her as much as a believer that's there visiting another grave would too, you know? So,
Yeah.
And, you know, if my mother's in a better place, so to speak, or whatever, well, good for her, you know? But like the old joke is, people claim they can speak to the dead, and I can speak to the dead as well. I don't get an answer though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when this guy says it's all ultimately meaningless, he's basically saying, well, human to human love doesn't count for anything. And it's sad. That's just sad.
Yeah.
If you were to point that out and say, well, your wife doesn't mean anything then to him, and go, well, under your view, your wife doesn't mean anything to you. I mean, he would be like, you know, heartbroken. Right? If you go, no, well, don't be silly. You know, of course
Hey,
I
friend.
love my wife. Yeah.
Yeah. I love my friend.
And yeah, and it's just that goes to hold back to, okay, well then our life is just meaningless. Then so all life is meaningless if the only point is the heaven, which again I pointed out, heaven was created first. So why did you create the mortal realm? It makes no sense, right? You could have skipped it all, just stuck with heaven in the first place.
Let's test us to see if we're worthy of heaven.
But it's meaningless. It's all meaningless.
Oh, yes.
Even for the believer, he's saying your whole life is ultimately meaningless, other than the faith aspect that gets you into the afterlife.
Yep.
And that's nonsense as well, like I'm saying, because no, only God is ultimately meaningful in the Christian worldview. The afterlife is not meaningful.
And it's also, of course, leaving out all the other religions that give people the same meaning that he's feeling from his religion.
Yeah.
Seems to be special pleading as well, yes.
Dreams are your hopes, all your aspirations, all your interests, all your pursuits. They're all ultimately meaningless if you're an atheist. There is, however, an alternative. We are creatures created in the image of God, created to know him and love him and enjoy him forever, created to do all that we do to the glory of God, created for eternity. So those are the
assertion again.
There it is, yeah. Created for eternity. Yeah.
For love. Created for love.
Then just
you're just asserting it.
And he could have just made heaven, just stuck with heaven, and just created everybody that walked around saying, I love you all day long. I'm not getting the extra step here of having the mortal realm.
Yeah, but why, if we're made for love, why, if that's what they believe, why do they hate so many people?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially other Christians.
Well, God wants to commune with everybody, but he's going to send you all down here for a little while. And then maybe some of you can come back and commune later. Well, if you just want a bunch of people to commune with, again, I don't see why the mortal realm was made in the first place. It just seems just to explain the mortal realm is what it's doing. It's not explaining why God needed to make a mortal realm.
Choices. There's eternal nothing or eternal God.
Yeah, it's the same old. It's nothing or God. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta give him.
False
I gotta
dichotomy
give him
right
credit.
there. False
I gotta
dichotomy
give him
right there.
credit. He said there's eternal nothing or eternal God. Okay, so he's not threatening us with fire. Hey, come on. We've been shitting on him. We can't give him this one.
A little bit. A little bit.
No, it's black. It's a fact.
It's not gonna get no better though. Are you ready?
Evolution is a fairy tale for adults.
There you go. Evolution is a fairy tale for adults.
Pot kettle. Pot kettle.
Pot kettle. Yeah, yeah.
Right there, live from non-live, question mark. Well, that's not evolution. So straight away, he's made the classic error,
Yeah.
the classic Christian error of trying to conflate two different subjects and call them the same.
And there has to be a serious problem with the whole evolution being part of biology, by the way, because it is the most talked about thing about no matter almost what channel you've come across. And I've been looking for material for the Saturdays here. There's always a mention of evolution. Did you see the TV? Pastor's up there. Did you see on the TV? I'm watching a show with the grandson. Millions of years. It's very pervasive over here. I don't know about how it is overseas with you folks, but over here they mention it all the time.
There's two things they can't stand. Well, there's two people especially that they can't stand. One is Darwin, can't stand it. The other is Spinoza, can't stand it. One came up with a naturalistic form of ethics. One came up with a naturalistic form for diversity of life. Those two things they just have no answer for whatsoever, and they feel so threatened by it that here we are 200 years or plus later, and they're still getting butthurt about it. It's very funny, really.
And ultimately, following a lot of them, and especially I follow a lot with the Ken Ham arguments, ultimately they will accept all the mechanisms of evolution, and then they will say, but that's not evolution. So
yeah.
Because it's hard to deny a lot of these things when the science is out there and anybody can look it up. Obviously, these things happen, these things happen, these things happen. So little by little, they have to accept that, well, yeah, of course this happens, mutations, whatever the mechanism is, but that's not evolution. Because
Absolutely.
what they're asking for is for, one species to give birth to another species in one generation, which doesn't happen. So ultimately, they can never get an answer to their question.
Oh, they know that as well. I mean, that's the little confusion thing that they like to sow. All right, but I mean, I'm not a biologist, so I don't get involved in those kind of debates. Generally speaking, however, when you say, well, what about the different breeds of dog? And they go, oh, yes, so that's fine. Yeah, of course, that's microevolution. So then I turn around and say, so you do accept evolution? Mm-hmm. They go, well, just not this species thing. And I go, no, well, that's fine. That's not what evolution is saying. Evolution is saying, right, that generation to generation, particular, life adapts to its environment. That's what it's saying. And you do agree that that's the case. So that's fine,
And
we
1
can
inch
agree to disagree.
1 inch doesn't prevent you from getting to a mile, or
exactly.
1 centimeter doesn't prevent you from getting to a kilometer. It's that's the part that is understandably harder to understand, because billions of years is hard to comprehend. It's very difficult to comprehend. So I'll grant that, but there's nothing there that's preventing it, right? Just because I can hop in my car and drive down the street to the corner in a matter of minutes, and it's going to take a snail, I don't know, weeks or months to do it, doesn't mean it can't be done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Life
Journey
from
of
non-life is
1,000 miles. Journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So.
Yep. And there's your microevolution. Yeah, if you admit that they can take that one step, there's nothing to prevent them from taking a second or a third.
Yep.
It's pocus. It's wiffle dust. It's pulling
Wiffle
rabbits
dust.
out of a hat.
Oh, nice. I like that.
I like the wiffle dust.
Yeah, we're all in for wiffle dust. I'll have 2 servings of wiffle dust, please.
Abiogenesis is impossible, and some half.
And there's the thing. It's impossible. I've heard this from all kinds. The James Tour on down, and everybody in between. It's impossible. Just give up and go home.
Yep. But it's been done.
Well, regardless of whether it's been done from my point of view, regardless of whether it's been done or not, the point is saying it is impossible is a fallacy. Okay? Yeah. It's just a logical fallacy to say abiogenesis is impossible, therefore it must be God.
Man will never fly. It was in the headlines like a couple of weeks before the Wright brothers took off.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's just a straightforward fallacy. So I'm glad that these people say this kind of shit, because it makes it so obvious that they don't know what they're talking about, right? And like, you know, we've had Otangelo in the side chat earlier. He is classically famous for doing this. I mean, he will literally lay out three arguments from ignorance in a row, and then go, "Yeah, but you don't know that," and you're going, I don't have to know it to know that you're talking bullshit, right? I don't have to know whether abiogenesis is or is not possible in order to say, look, when you say it is impossible, that's the claim that we want to be backed up, and you can't back it up because you have no idea. Yeah. And now there tends to be evidence for it, so at least we can say that through a process of induction we can get to a correct answer, but. You know, that's besides the point.
Well, and when they're accepting what they do, they're basically accepting mechanisms of evolution. So they are accepting evolution. They are accepting the science of biology. So
it's in the Bible, dude.
Yeah, they're not
I
getting
don't know if
to.
You know this, but if you put a striped stick in a field, right, that has consequences.
Yeah, but it's not getting you to your God, though. It seems to me all their arguments at best are getting to a deistic God, not the personal God that they're claiming.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah.
Fish, half amphibian monster would be lunch in no time flat. Same goes for half reptile, half bird. Lunch.
Oh, crocoducks. Yeah, bad argument.
Lunch.
The reason that the supposed half fish, half amphibian survived was because it found a new niche to explore when it climbed on land and found a food source and no predators.
Yeah,
that's a great place to be. Yeah, that's a great place to be.
It wasn't lunch. It developed that way so it wouldn't be lunch.
Yep.
I mean, talk about not understanding what the theory says.
Yeah, they probably first only got on land to get away from a predator.
Yep. And look what they found.
Were there.
Paradise.
And it's like, oh fuck, there's food here as well.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, like, isn't an amphibian like already like half fish? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, show me a fish that's in the development of walking around and breathing air or something like that. You show them a mud skipper that spends most of its life not living in water, walking around breathing air, and then they so it
but Dave, have you heard how frogs are born?
Yeah.
Like, and like, that's the same with butterflies. Before they thought caterpillars and butterflies were two different kinds. Well, there you got it. One kind giving birth to another. Whoop whoop. We're done.
And that's one of the best. That's one of the best arguments against Hovind was when T-Jump told him that his Hoven's children are not Hovens, so he gave birth to not Hovens. So, yeah,
But
you want
wait,
an
no,
example
he did.
of the change?
Sorry, he did not give birth to his children.
Yeah, well, yeah, the change in kind, though, it's like you'll never see giving birth to something different, and it's like everything's different. Your kids are proof that you're different, and even in litters of puppies, which can look very similar, when you're around that litter of puppies, you can see the tiny little differences.
Yeah, and like people say that it's not chance. No, it's not chance that thing stays in a group, but at first, like, there is a mutation somewhere, and like that's not it. The mutation itself is not planned, but sometimes a mutation is beneficial, and then you are stronger than your opponent, or more attractive.
And you can get a creationist to grant that these things happen. So they're accepting evolution, which it's not a good argument. It's not helping their argument, and it's not getting them to their God. It's not getting any other religions, because other apologists from other religions use the arguments too. It's not getting any closer to their beliefs either.
Yeah, and like when they say oh, it's just random chance, and like that's what they misunderstand, because as I said, like there is a bit of chance in that, like that particular mutation happens, but the fact that that mutation stays in the population, that's not chance. Like, if it's beneficial, it'll stay. If it's detrimental, it'll go. If it's neutral, who the fuck knows? Maybe it stays. Like,
we got the crocoduck in the chat. I first came on land to visit my girlfriend who lives in Canada. You don't know her. So there you go. That explains it all. See, it wasn't that hard.
That's a good
These
one.
people wasting all this time in the lab for and everything. I had the answer here all along.
Yeah.
Yet people believe in this stuff. Evolution reminds me of the part in Alice Through the Looking Glass when Alice tells the White Queen, "One can't believe in impossible things." To which the Queen replies, "I dare say you haven't had much practice. Why, sometimes I've believed in as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast."
Sure, you can believe in all kinds of things, but is it demonstrable? Is it testable? Is it falsifiable?
I'm sorry, but we've got proof you can believe in impossible things. It's standing there right in that video.
And that doesn't mean all the answers are known, because, again, a lot of biologists wouldn't be going to work every day if all the answers were known. But they have plenty of answers.
Yeah, the question.
Hello,
is
Native.
The question is not whether you believe it. The question is it demonstrable?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And even if you use your common sense and the test results come against your common sense, then that's when your common sense has to change, because it's common sense to change your common sense if you're getting facts in your face that are telling you something different.
Yeah.
So when I was asked earlier, is there common sense? Yes, but how are you applying the common sense?
But that also goes against the fear of a lot of people, which is because people hate saying, "I don't know," but the thing that they hate more is like, "I was wrong."
Yeah, and that's fine.
That's something that people just can't say. But it's okay to be wrong. Hell, I've been wrong a lot of times.
And we've talked about this before. A lot of scientists have been wrong about things, but being wrong is not always bad, because it adds to the body of knowledge. When something has been repeatedly tested and doesn't work, other scientists can know not to waste their time with it, right?
Yeah,
This has been shown to be wrong. It didn't work. It was discredited, disproved, out the window, in the trash. So that it's not always a bad thing to know what is wrong.
Well, and like religious people mainly, they say something and they'll do anything to make it fit so it's right. Scientists, when they figure something out and think like, oh, it's like that, they'll do anything to prove it's wrong. If they're real, honest scientists.
Yep.
There's a lot of cons that don't do that, but like
that's where you have to have your
science.
Got to have your falsifiability, which religion doesn't have any falsifiability. At least not most of the major religions do not have falsifiability, because I've asked them. And one of my videos, when I was talking with Hamza, I got him to admit it. I said, evidence would change my mind. Nothing's going to change his mind. So it's what he believes is not falsifiable. So you can never present evidence against it.
Correct.
That would be a good title for a book on evolution, 6 Impossible Things Before Breakfast. British anthropologist Sir Arthur Keith says, evolution is unproved and unprovable. We believe it only because the alternative is special creation, which is unthinkable. Yes, evolution is a fairy tale for gullible people who don't want God.
And Mike noticed that one of these quotes, and I looked up a couple others that he uses in these videos, he's quote mining. He's being dishonest with the quotes.
There's a surprise. I don't know whether he's actually being dishonest or whether he just doesn't know. But either way, he's already shown that he can't use Google even for the most basic things.
Yeah, I don't give a lot of sympathy. One of my recent comments on a video about something was, yeah, you need to look up some basic things before you do a video, right? Even getting Mary Schweitzer's name wrong, you know, write it on your hand or something. You know what I mean? Or fix it later, right? Oh, sorry, I mispronounced her name. Put the little text on the bottom of the screen, right? These are basic things that anybody can do on a video.
Well, yeah, he should be able to do that because he had the little logo thingy at the top. But
yeah.
So if you can do that, you can probably do that. All
right, we got a couple more here, and we'll wrap things up here in a few minutes because I want to go and support Joe at 8 o'clock. So we'll check out a few 8 my time. So I'm shooting for between 5 and 8 for the show anyway. So we'll look at a few more of these. He's got a lot of these. He seems to like doing shorts. If you want to go check him out again, try to be kind in the comments. This is not to sick anybody on anybody or attack anybody. Please don't do that. And Pastor Steve, you're always welcome to stop by and have a conversation with us. So the invitation is there. Oh, and speaking of, while I'm taking a break, if you're not subscribed, how about hitting that subscribe button? I'm almost to 400 subscribers. I'd like to get to 500.
That reminds me, I'm just going to give you a like now. I suggest everybody else do the same.
Let me check if I think I already did it, but
yeah, if somebody needs to drop him out of the chat over there.
Whatever. He's entertaining.
He's causing problems over there.
Well, there's enough mods there if they really feel like it.
Yep, I got plenty of wrenches out there. Take care of it, all right?
In evolution, probably because a teacher or a textbook said it happened. But most people who write the textbooks, and most of the teachers, and virtually all the readers, have never interacted with the opposing arguments. They're learning and
What?
teaching in an echo chamber. Here's what they need to do. Suspend judgment and
What?
read the
Here we
best
go.
intelligent design people, giving their arguments a fair shake. Actually, you don't
There's no other arguments.
Projection much?
Yeah, this is the whole why don't they teach alchemy in school and all this kind of things.
Exactly.
The other side argument, yeah.
Astrology.
You get
Like he's saying that the interesting thing. This is in a video that started with the question "life from non-life?" and then said evolution is a fairy tale. I mean, if that isn't engaging with the argument, I don't know what is. So,
I dropped the block on her. He's got so many dang accounts, it's hard to keep on top of it. So if it shows up in the chat there, would you do me a favor and just block it, because it's hard to keep ahead of him. Hey Neil, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah,
we're getting.
He just causes problems, and it's not welcome here. So
Fair enough. Neil, he's just getting schooled by this guy who is coming up with cast iron logic to say that evolution is false because abiogenesis. And I don't know how to answer him other than, my goodness, please use Google.
don't even deserve to hold a position until you've studied the best arguments from both sides and until you can present them fairly and indicate why you disagree with them.
Well, you're not presenting them fairly. You've already said these things are impossible, right? This really bothered me when I was watching these, because I said, wait a minute, you just said it's impossible, and then you're trying to say, well, you need to examine all sides, and everybody deserves a fair shake, and you need to. Yeah, no, you're not. You've already just determined it's impossible. You're not investigating any other side. Yeah. That's impossible is the end of the line, right?
Why isn't he taking his own advice?
Hang on a second. They're the two buzzwords. Those are the two buzz phrases that I enjoy hearing most. One is X is impossible, and the other is common sense. If you just use common sense, those two things. As soon as I hear a theist saying either one of those, I'm in heaven. I'm just in heaven straight away. Because they literally don't know they're giving the argument away.
Yeah.
Having done that, having examined the best arguments for intelligent design, having given them a fair hearing, echo chamber, be rigorous, read intelligent design, but a warning, it will lead you to God.
Oh no! Oh, it's good that he warned us. Then we know not to read it, right?
I mean, that's like saying the Kalam gets you to God. It doesn't. It just doesn't. I mean, even if we grant intelligent design, it doesn't mean that it's God. That's not how that works.
Well, I would at least grant philosophical arguments over granting scientific arguments, because the intelligent design is claiming to be science, and it's not science. It's theology. If you want to say it's theology and teach it as theology, but they do not, they push it as science, and they get names of, like he's been doing, throwing around certain scientist names that usually are not even in the field they're discussing, just to say, see, here's a scientist, and then at the same time, don't listen to the scientists. Just these certain ones we can find to agree with us, that are always in the super minority.
Yeah. I love it. I love it when they do that, though. It makes my heart go a little bit warmer.
Ed's here, join us. Good to see you. Good to see you, Sam. Delicious Danish and everybody. Jay stopping by. Yeah, sorry about that. You know how it is. And trying to keep ahead of him. See, there's still a bunch of other ones. He's got numerous accounts he's dropping in here on. So
Which is it? Which I don't know. I don't know how many accounts he's got.
Yeah. Anyway,
It just doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, impossibility. How is that demonstrated? Yeah, it's not demonstrated by some inductive argument. It's only demonstrated by, a contradiction shown in the argument. So that's going to have to be done deductively, and that's something that these people will not do.
Yeah.
They know they lose as soon as they use that. They should know they lose as soon as they use that, but for some reason they can't stop using the word impossible.
And they're perfectly within their realm to use theological arguments. That's obviously their position. But if you're going to use science, you at least got to get it right. And misrepresenting it, cherry picking people's quotes, and saying things like "it's just impossible, go home." First of all, that's not what scientists do. I mean, that's the exact opposite of what scientists do. If scientists threw their arms in the air and went home, we wouldn't have nothing, right?
We wouldn't have this stream.
Yeah. So no, that's the bad arguments and bad science. That's bad science. We'll get, we'll get a couple more here we'll look at, and then we'll wrap things up.
Logic indicates that everything was created by God. What's the logic? Well, everything exists. But for anything to exist, one of three things must be true.
Here's your logic.
I love it. What's the logic? It exists. Everything exists because of logic. What's the logic? It exists.
It's so logical.
Do they not? I mean, does he not actually play these back before he posts them?
I've asked people, that's another one of the comments I put in something. But before you did the video, did you listen to it back? Did you write it down and read it back? Because sometimes it just, and maybe it makes sense to other people, but it didn't make sense to me.
I'm sure it makes sense to him, right? He's going to go on and explain why it's, but anything from here is just special pleading. I mean, any explanation from here is just going to be special pleading.
Chat seems to agree that it's circle, circle, circle. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Either 1, everything is eternal, or 2, everything was created by something that is eternal, or 3, everything created itself. But option 1, everything is eternal, is easily ruled out by the second law of thermodynamics. An eternal universe.
That's just not
it's
true.
Not true. No.
That's just a misunderstanding of physics right there. First law, thermodynamics, right?
Yeah.
Energy cannot be created or destroyed. So that's ruled
in.
Everything being eternal.
So everything is eternal.
Well, as Sir Arthur Penrose likes to talk, or Sir Roger Penrose likes to talk about, is that when all of this energy gets to a certain point, it doesn't automatically, but it refires like another big bang, and you can go over and over and over again. So just because it winds down to us, and I'm obviously no physicist, but basically when the universe winds down, he says it's very similar mathematically or whatever to the beginning of the universe. So his idea is that because that similarity is there, that somehow, you can get the refiring of the universe. So, you, like you said, that the energy can be changed, and somehow it can big bang over again and become usable energy again. In his theory, at least.
That's Penrose, for sure.
Yeah.
But the point being is that the second law does not talk about destroying energy. It only talks about usable energy, right? So it's just not true that energy winds down. That's not what happens. No, usable energy.
Energy, right?
That can wind down, and maybe that's the ultimate result of the universe. I don't know, but the point is, I don't know. You don't know. You've clearly misunderstood what the second law means.
The argument's wrong either way. They're all numerous alternative explanations as well.
So that's the first thing that you're getting wrong, right? You've ruled out something without actually knowing that it's not ruled out by what you're saying.
Yep.
So number one is back on the table again. So when you come to the conclusion that God is the only thing, you're already wrong. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the chat's in agreement too.
Would have run down a long time ago. And option 3, matter created itself, is logically impossible. To create itself, it would have to exist before it existed, and that's nonsense.
And there again, where first law, it can't be created or destroyed. So
yeah, and also the word exist is somewhat time dependent there, so it doesn't even apply in the sense of the universe. That's just category error, really.
So option 2 is the only possibility for the origin of everything. Matter was created by something that was eternal. And here's an interesting twist. That eternal something had to be immaterial. It existed before matter was created.
That's not
and it
true.
had to be personal because it decided to create everything.
That's
so
not
something
necessarily
immaterial, personal, and eternal created everything. And I guess you noticed, that's God.
No, it's not neither of those. No, both of those are non sequiturs, I'm afraid. Yeah. So this argument is just absolutely riddled with logical fallacies.
It's my God did it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So logically, the universe was created by God.
Yeah, bad logic. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, logically, the universe was created by Bigfoot. Well, maybe it was, but is it demonstrable? No. What does it add to the explanation? It doesn't seem to add anything to the explanation. You're just making an assertion, which you're fine. You're fine to make assertions. A lot of science begins with somebody saying, I think it's this, but you're not past that point. You've never gotten beyond that point, and that's where you've been stuck for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. I mean, can you just tell me this guy's name again, just so I remember it?
That's Pastor Steve.
Pastor Steve. Oh, okay, yeah.
That's Pastor Steve.
Yeah.
And, he is from the Cornerstone Community Church.
Oh dear.
In I don't know how to say this. Joppa, Joppa, Maryland. Joppa. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't look it up.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I find this kind of attitude insufferable, really, I have to say.
Mike was pointing out a lot of the comments in the chat were that kind of retaliatory because he's rather aggressive. So
I'd love to talk to him. Oh my goodness, I'd love to tear him a strike.
Anybody we're reviewing on here, if you want to get a hold of us and come talk to us. We can have a civil discussion.
There's no chance. I mean, these people like to isolate themselves for good reason.
The invitation's always there. All hail Bigfoot at the Gmail. You can get a hold of me. Love to have a discussion. As long as it's a civil discussion, love to have it. Examine any of the arguments you have and the rebuttals we had, or just do a video back, and we can do it that way too.
Oh, that would be good. That would be the best way, because
we can respond back and forth that way too. It's all good. That's what makes the YouTubes go round, doesn't it?
Absolutely, the old days.
Yeah.
The old days. That's all that we used to be able to do, right?
Yeah. All right, we'll do one more here, and we'll call it a night.
Okie doke.
Math points to God. Simple, elegant mathematical laws, equations of atomic and nuclear physics govern the universe, and they've done so uniformly and ever since the beginning of time. But Nobel Prize-winning physicist...
Okay, yeah, stop there.
Yeah, that's already so wrong. Yeah.
I love how he does this. This is my favorite thing about him, is that he puts the fallacy right at the top. Okay, just right there. Right?
Just throw it right out.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And then the rest is just bamboozling. This is very was it indicative of being a pastor? I've got to say, right? And I think everybody knows what I mean by that, right? Nonetheless, so no, I mean, is math? Is math invented or discovered? That question is on an open question, and I'm afraid you haven't addressed it. You've just once again asserted that it's discovered. And no, I don't think there's many naturalists that say that the laws of mathematics or equations of mathematics govern anything. Okay, they just don't. That's completely the wrong language to use.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they have explanatory power, but they haven't used that explanatory power to get to a specific God, which is what Rabid Atheist was pointing out. That
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
I mean,
it's just
the language is wrong, right? I mean, when you use the word govern, that's a prescriptive part of language, and mathematics is descriptive. The two just do not mix, I'm afraid. And because you're asserting that they do, it just, again, to me, shows that you're a little lacking on understanding of what we're talking about when it comes to prescription and description.
And you could have a different form of mathematics on the other side of the universe that still explain things the same way. So it I don't know if it exists on its own, because even here we've had different mathematics systems, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
So,
there are different axioms that can be used.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and the only way you can get math to point to God is if you add math. Slight difference in the two.
Yeah, I lean more that math is descriptive, and I don't know if it actually exists in some form outside of just the way we use it to describe things.
Yeah, my view is my view is it's a fiction, personally. But nonetheless, like, I don't mind if you want to use maths to describe God. That's fine as well. And that argument I can get on board with, at least, right? But it doesn't prove it. It's not the maths that proves the laws of physics, right? It's the data collected that fits the model of maths, which suggests that it's correct.
And he doesn't
That's
like
a very
that.
different thing. Those are two very different things.
Yeah, because he's just going to basically say they're using the math to fit their preconceptions, and that's not what they're doing. Like you say, it either lines up with the data or it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. And we like manipulate the equations in order to fit the observation. We don't get the observation, we don't get the maths, and then go, oh look, I now know that everything that I observe will fit this.
Right.
That's not how that works, you know. And it's such a basic error. It's such a basic error in maths and induction that to hear it trotted out one more time just because mathematicians like to think they're more important than they are.
Yeah, he uses the argument that if they're wrong, then they just adjust everything so that it works out. And it's like, no, if it's wrong, it's wrong, and everybody's going to point it out. I think Brainless pointed out earlier that, other scientists, that's what they're trying to do, is prove other scientists wrong.
And even prove themselves wrong.
They prove themselves wrong, right?
Eugene Vigner asks, why? Why do the same beautiful mathematical equations apply uniformly across all time and space? And
we don't know. Yeah, we don't know that either.
They just don't.
They don't.
And they break down at the they break down there. They break down black holes. They break down at the singularity. There's all kind of times where they're not the same. Yeah.
If it was the same everywhere, why is there quantum physics? Why is that not just physics?
Also, just to point this out, that Vigner's statement was not why, right? It's just not why does maths do it. It's why is it reasonable to accept that maths should do it. Right? And those
yeah,
are two very different questions, right?
yeah, I already
He's-
pointed out. Yeah, he cherry picks the quotes and takes them out
Yeah.
of context. So
Yeah, big style. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big style.
I found, as a matter of fact, I only picked a couple of the videos where he was misquoting people. There was a whole bunch others. I said, well, there's no point because he seems to do it in a lot of videos.
And that is a great question. Why is the entire universe extraordinarily, beautifully, and universally mathematical? And the naturalist atheist answer is, I don't know.
No, that's not what the naturalist atheist answer is. I think my particular answer is I wouldn't expect it to be otherwise, because if you describe something with an infinite number of variables, with an infinite number of degrees of freedom, I would expect it to be able to describe an infinite number of things. And as far as I'm aware, even if the universe is either infinite or it's finite, under both situations, mathematics will be able to describe it. So no, it's not surprising to me. I think Vigner's question of unreasonably effective is just not a very good answer or a very good question. It's flawed in the question itself.
But is math not also one of the things that we made to describe the universe, to describe what's going on around us?
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah, it's it's descriptive. You've got a long way to go to prove that it exists somewhere outside of that.
It's like the same, like if I say like on his face there's a beard. Why does the word beard describe perfectly what's on his face?
Right.
It's the same thing.
Well, there could be, a fundamental law of mathematics or something that could be discovered someday. It's possible, it hasn't been so far though. So, Simos and I pretty much agree that it doesn't exist. So, but it is a very useful tool. And,
it's the same as time. It's a way for us to describe something about the world.
I think if there's an intelligent species on the other side of the universe, that they probably have their tools to describe things too. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to agree that 2 + 2 is 4. They might have a completely different understanding of how to arrive at that with the same understanding, right?
That would be fucking interesting.
Yeah, it would be. Well, and that's one of the things, they talk about often when they speculate what alien life could be like. And the best answers I've heard is probably nothing like we could ever imagine, right? It would just be so completely different, including the, mathematics and everything else. So,
well, the question
if that life even is sorry.
That's all right. The questions themselves are quite interesting, but of course, the only way to really answer them is with common sense, and we know what that does.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm pretty sure he had a video too that there's no aliens out there, because again, he's a fundamentalist, so all life is on this planet. We're special, that whole thing too. So,
but in a theistic universe, all the math makes perfect sense. Math and the mathematical universe came from God.
That doesn't follow either. As I've said before, nothing has to be as it is for it to be magical. Everything could just be magical goo. There's no reason for DNA. There's no reason for muscles or a skeletal system. There's no reason for stars and birth of stars and death of stars. There's no reason for any of all that. It can just be a big magical environment, and it doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, also, there's a couple of other things here. Firstly, I'm British, so I don't know what you're talking about when you say math. I'm joking, of course, but nonetheless. And the second reason is, of course, if you say that math is created by God, is math created by God because math is a description of God? Or is God a description of mathematics? Is it in his nature? We don't know this, of course, and you have no argument to show which is right. If you say one way, God is, you're just limiting God, and that's the problem with using
Yeah.
logic in this way.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just saying you don't know that you're actually confining God into a little box here, which means he has to agree that 2 and 2 is 4, and it couldn't be otherwise. So you're limiting God. And yet you're saying that God is limitless because he exists eternally. Those two things are contradictions. And
Let's let him finish.
So does our ability to discover, appreciate, and do the math. A rational and mathematical God gave us our mathematical minds so we could understand the mathematical universe that he made. Math comes from and points to God.
No, it doesn't.
well done.
Yeah. Okay. But this again is just presupposition. Everything is God. Math is God. The universe is God. Look at the trees as God. Yeah, okay. If you're going to just attribute everything to God, that's fine. But again, that doesn't belong with any science, though, because it doesn't get you anywhere. You're going to throw your hands in the air and go home. It's God. We're not going to be talking online right now. We're not going to have all the things we have from scientists.
And also just notice, of course, when he starts attributing things to God, he's never attributing the bad things, only the good things.
No, of course not.
So all of those really nasty things, we can't live at many places on this planet, let alone the universe.
Well, he took care of that right at the beginning, and he's repeated it in other videos. It's our fault with the fall. And that's a lot of apologists use the argument you can't blame God. It's our fault, even though the curse is from God, so it's still God doing it. And
the curse from God.
Yeah, the idea was to curse
us for doing something he made us, so we would do that.
Yeah, the idea was to punish Adam and Eve for something they were set up to do anyways. But then they keep saying, well, it's your fault. It's your fault. And they tell little children this too. It's your fault. Right? It's your fault. You're bad. You're fallen. You're sinful. You're horrible. You're terrible. And then he says, but that gives your life meaning, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm just so terrible. I'm just, oh man, everything's all my fault. All of humanity, people getting sick and don't have food, and somebody stepped on a tack. It's all my fault. It's all my fault, right? That's a big burden to carry.
Yeah. Also, that's not even counting the naturalistic, things that are wrong with the universe. Okay. Because, it's my fault that God had to make black holes, is it? That's my fault, is it? It's my fault that stars explode. That's my fault, is it? Okay, it's my fault that there are billions and billions and billions and billions of stars in this universe and galaxies in this universe, right? That's my fault, and that none of them have, potentially none of them have life, right? So that's my fault as well.
It's all our fault. Yeah,
it's a ridiculous claim.
And it takes so much power away from God too, right? God just gets upset with one silly little thing that two silly little people did, depending on how you read the story, on one tiny little planet that changes the whole universe for all of time, because God is rational. I believe that's what he just said, right? Was God is rational.
Oh, I thought he said God was petty and vindictive.
Well,
that what he said? We'll probably have to play that back then later and find out.
That's Dan Barker's book.
Yeah, is that right? I was thinking of Christopher Hitchens, but yeah, okay.
Or Hitchens, yeah.
Yeah, but
anyway, look, he seems like a nice guy. I mean, there's no issue, right? He's just another human being trying to get along in life as best he can, trying to make his crust where he can, I dare say. And, I think it's brave that he puts this stuff out there.
He is a fundamentalist, so he is pushing fundamentalism, which there's a lot of problems with, because it's basically they deny everything they don't like. So
yeah, of course. And like, I'm not saying, people have biases, and that's fine. But he seems like a fun guy. He's putting the fun in fundamentalists. So well done, you.
That's right. We had some fun looking at it.
We did.
Yeah, so we do appreciate that, and yeah, like I said, if you want to comment back, let us know. If you want to make a response back, let us know. It's nothing personal, unless somebody makes it personal, right? And we hope to not make things personal here, although, like I said, there are people that cause problems here and there in the chats and whatnot, and
yeah, that's shitty. But yeah,
there's plenty of wrenches here in my chat. Feel free to use them. We don't need any problems in the chat, especially when we don't need somebody in the chat saying things that we already have a video up that we are reviewing that they're saying these things in. Okay, I put a lot of time into finding the video and everything. We don't need it in the chat too. It's just a distraction. It's unneeded. And
yeah, and I'd like to say just thanks to the people commenting in the chat on what we're saying as well. That kind of feedback really helps. So thank you very much for that.
A lot of folks talking in the chat. Good to see everybody. And Purple, Rabbit, Atheist. Check out both their channels. And I mentioned Mike's going to be on in Skeptic Spin. Also saw Neil here. Neil, of course, is going to have his show coming up here top of the hour as well. Great show over there too.
I've just looked at the Rabbit Atheist, and you've got a new subscriber. Probably doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things, but thanks so much.
All right, there you go. And make sure you subscribe around, everybody. You see folks in the chat, make sure you subscribe around. Pragmatic Crystal, Jay, and of course, our own Simos here, and Brainless. You can find often over at on Slim's channel. Do you have your own content, Brainless?
No, not really. No.
Okay.
I usually hang around Slim or by Parrot or the Deep State Annex. Okay. That's I'm more of a sidekick.
And but as when you see folks in the chat, make sure you subscribe each other around, help each other out. Subscribe to my channel, please. The numbers are growing. I appreciate everybody. And like I say, we're trying to do this every Saturday, looking at these videos and having a few laughs. And again, thanks to everybody who joined us on the panel tonight. We had a lot of people come in and out. I know other people had different things going on and everything, which is all fine. That's how it goes. And we have different people that come in and out on the panel each week, and we have some regulars that come in. So I appreciate everybody joining us, and all the different perspectives are always welcome. And again, anybody we've reviewed, you're welcome. If you don't want to come on, you can always contact us. My email's on my channel. You can also find me on Twitter or Discord or anywhere else as Captive Desk as well. So I'm pretty easy to find. Not a lot of captive desks out there, so pretty easy to find. So get a hold of me.
And thank you, Purple. I love that joke there, although it's not quite stated the way I'm going to state it, but I love it. I'm physic, so therefore I can predict the future.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
So thanks everybody for joining us. I think we'll wrap things up. Like I say, other folks got shows going on, and I'd like to go support them as well. So go check them out again. Skeptic Spin with Joe, and I'm pretty sure Neil's having his show at 8 o'clock too. He, if you don't know, he does deconversion stories primarily over there, or he does his Lego stream, and I think he's also doing an interview with Dan Barker too. So he's got a lot of good things going on over there. And
if I'm not mistaken, he's got a the conversion story, Slim's D's conversion story on there as well. So,
And I was
check
on
that out.
that. I was on there.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got
I don't have time to watch everything.
Rabbit
Too much.
Rabbit Atheist was in the chat. Yeah, go check out Rabbit Atheist. Great channel. He's a former pastor. Great perspective on things. So go check that out too. Hello, Liz. Good to see you. Yeah, we're just wrapping things up, but appreciate you stopping by.
And please like and subscribe, of course.
Like and subscribe. Share it around to everybody else. And
Good.
yeah,
good
if I missed you, thanks for stopping by in the chat. And Geo Sam too. Go check out Geo Sam. A lot of great tips on how to use the tricks in GIMP and stuff. There's neat stuff over there. So
Thank
check
you,
out
Purple, as well.
Geo Sam as well. All right. Okay. So with that, thanks for joining me, panel, and everybody have a good one. Go check out what you're gonna watch next. And with that, I'm gonna play my outro music.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Tales of lore knocking at the captive desk's door. Legends live within these walls, silent echoes in the halls, books and stories on the floor, knocking at the captive desk's door. Captive desk, hold our dreams, where reality and no myth seems. In conversations quiet flow, the mysteries untold will know. Legends live within these walls, silent echoes in the halls, books and stories on the floor, knocking at